Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the NADCL. Last day today. We have a bit of an interesting schedule. I know it's a bit earlier than we expected. Malibu and Sneeze here bringing you the action. It's going to be Astronauts Esports versus Sporkface Killaz to find out who is going to the grand finals. We have a full lobby ready. I know it was a bit of a wait, but we're here. We're getting ready to go. But there is a reason why we're starting a bit earlier, isn't there, Malibu?
Oh yeah, we have so many notable names here in this lobby that
Yeah.
we have to get this game out of the way so our friends can do the ESL qualifiers for Kuala Lumpur.
Yeah, big event. I think it's the first one that was properly announced even before the whole DPC situation basically fell into shambles, right? So this is, I think, quite an important proving grounds. It's really going to set the stage for what the teams are to look out for, especially with the roster shuffle season. Nobody really knows what to expect anymore. I think everybody's fair game now, especially in NA where things have been quite turbulent lately. But we're gonna find out, maybe get a bit of a hint of who the promising ones are to look at for Astronauts versus Sporkface. Now, we were casting NADCL Season 4 as well, right? This is the opening
Oh yeah.
tournament of Season 5. Now, a bit of history about these two organizations in case you guys didn't catch previous season. So, Astronaut Esports, they were actually kind of successful, right? Coming into season 4, they had a decent, very dominant showing in tournament 2 where they won it all. But other than that, weren't really able to replicate the same level of success. Kind of similar profile for Sporkface Killaz where they had a completely quiet tournament 1, tournament 2, tournament 3. Don't think anyone really had high expectations for the grand finals for them. But then they came out and ended up at the grand finals of the grand finals, went toe to toe with the eventual winners, and eventually losing 3-1, which, they probably would have liked to win that. But still, it kind of feels like both these teams coming in, like I said, similar profile, right? They've kind of proved themselves, but not just there yet. And I'm sure they're looking to change things for season 5.
Yeah, absolutely. The season structure of season 4 with the constant reshuffles every
Yeah.
week maybe didn't lend itself to the early success for
Yeah.
Sporkface, but I think they found a winning, almost a completely winning recipe there at the end of the grand finals. And I'm really interested to see how the contrast here in season 5, where you have your roster, you kind of cultivate it, develop it, build those bonds up over the entire season. I'm really interested
Yeah.
to see how that contrast serves both teams here today.
Yeah, we will get ourselves right into the draft very shortly as the game is already starting up. We'll have that come up right now. But yeah, I think that's a very interesting point that you mentioned because the whole dynamic is very different, right? I think coming into a game knowing that, okay, it's only this little pocket of games that I'm going to be working with my team. So you're not really maybe thinking so much about the strat. You're more thinking in that week, what are we going to try and pull out to surprise our opponents as compared to developing these strategies, developing these synergies over the course of this entire season 5. I mean, Sporkface Killaz and Astronaut, they already came out the gate swinging 2-0 victories in both their prior games against both Instinct as well as the Honored Vanguard. I mean, they both showed their stuff, right? I mean, Ogre Magi mid for Babatich, that is definitely
In a
something.
classic.
Yeah, that was pretty nasty for sure.
Yeah, and another facet of that, where you're with the same roster over and over, we have a lot of players flexing between roles. And last season, you didn't know what role you would have to play on based on what week. You draft
Yeah.
3 more players, you're gonna have to change it up. But here it's locked in, so if you typically play 1, now you're on 5. You have a couple weeks to kind of let that settle in, get some reps with your team, and build up that chemistry. So I think right now we're cooking, but then the last weeks of this season, we're gonna be chefing. It's gonna be crazy.
Yeah, for sure. It's only gonna get hotter and hotter in the NADCL Season 5 kitchen here. But we have ourselves a draft, and that is brewing in its own way. Now, before we get to the exact bans here, there is one last little thing I want to talk about these teams, right? So we already mentioned, okay, last season you had that situation where you're not really sure which role you're going to play week to week. It makes it very hard to kind of solidify that identity. We have a bit of a different problem coming into season 5 for these players to contend with, right? I think we didn't really feel the effects of it just yet. But even you take a look at the players on Sporkface Killaz, you have Henry, you have Chola. We did a quick look on some of their profiles. These are typically mid players, but you kind of give way to Babatich, who's the highest ranking mid laner right now. And you kind of just got to bow down, and that's how it is, right? I'm sure you guys watch some pro player streams, or maybe even some of your friends are a bit high ranked. And then every time in the draft, in the immortal drafts, it's always okay. Whoever's the highest rank, regardless of what your main role is, you take a core position, and it's gonna be up to these other players to adapt and get up to that level and make sure that they're performing at the same sort of wavelength. I think it's kind of a similar situation at Astronaut Esports, where Rem, who's now playing in their position 5, was last season entirely a position 1. Right, Muzi, he's danced a little bit between positions 2 and 3 last season, and now I believe he's in the pos 1. So a lot of shaking around here. Astronaut Esports and Sporkface Killaz, they are gonna have to try and solidify a recipe that works for them.
Yeah, it'll be it's sad when you look at a player like Muzi and you're like, you have 1,300 Invoker games. I don't think you're going to use that in pos 1.
No.
Wow.
I mean, if he brings it out, it's definitely going to be something interesting. Now, let's turn our eyes towards the exact hero picks here. Some very heavy emphasis on the off-laners in particular from both sides, huh? Night Stalker, Bristleback, Spirit Breaker, and Brewmaster. The hate is strong from Astronaut Esports. And Sporkface Killaz taking out the Wraith King as well as the CK as well. They're going to snatch themselves out the Treant Protector. Any particular ban or pick speak to you, Malibu, that you kind of want to point out?
I think these are just common. These are the run-of-the-mill meta picks and bans right now for this draft. Just taking those strong offlaners out of the pool that can run over your safe lane. That just kind of gives you a chance at having a game at all. I think everybody watching and listening right now you've already fallen victim to the 5-minute CK taking your tier 1 tower, and you can't contest it. So both teams just looking to really open up their games, give themselves a chance to breathe. And the early pressure that can result from those heroes being in the game, that can really throw off the rhythm of these players that are shifting roles.
For sure.
So I think it's just giving yourself the best chance for success.
For sure. And adding on to that point that you're making, love that you mentioned that, Malibu, because we're seeing 2 picks to start things off that are exact same picks that these teams made in their prior series. Sporkface Killaz, it was Chola playing that Treant Protector, if I'm not wrong. And I believe Astronaut Esports, they picked the Pugna in their second game up against Instinct. And mind you, they completely decimated Instinct across 2 games, right? They were very, very fast affairs. 20 minutes on one, 30 minutes on the other. Very, very fast game end time. So Astronaut Esports definitely know how to play the tempo with the partner especially, and adding on to the feeling good, right? You don't really want to worry yourself so much in this early stage of the draft. You want to kind of wait it out, see what your opponent reveals, see what their hand is before really reacting and formulating a bit more solid of a strategy. Now, some of the tanky boys being taken out here, Kanka, the Torrent Storm, I think everything as per the meta. Nobody really likes dealing with this guy. It's just painful all around. I mean, trees usually like water, but maybe on the opposite side, a bit too much is gonna drown you. Centaur War Runner taken out as well, and Primal Beast. So that's banned towards Babbitich, I believe, who played it on the mid lane just yesterday.
Yeah. So his ogre still in the pool.
I don't know. I don't know whether you that call, Malibu. That's a bit crazy. But
it's game 1. They're just getting data
Fair.
at this point.
Fair. Well, for what it's worth, you can get data for 1 game max, right? At the end of the day, this is a single elimination bracket. You can always say, we have next week, whatnot. But as a Grin supporter myself, seeing them fall so early in the tournament definitely hurt my heart. So you want to make your supporters proud. Astronaut Esports and Sporkface Killaz definitely orgs with some history here. Starting out with the Tidehunter, so a hero that can shrug off some of this, I guess, spell usage coming out from the Treant Protector. You don't really have the ability to stop him from ravaging at this current point in time, at least with your first pick right now. Treant Protector, a very strong laner that can bully out most off-laners, but, Tide, you pair it up with 1 aggressive support, suddenly this Treant, armor or not, he's going to be in a bit of trouble.
Yeah, I like Astronaut taking the Tidehunter here, just because, namely, the Treant Protector, Tidehunter, overgrowth into Ravage is absolute sickening.
Yeah.
You get hit with the overgrowth, you pop your Manita, you're like, okay, great, I'm free, and then the Ravage comes out, and then you're like, okay, we're back to square 1, and my team is dying. But
yeah,
Beaver pick paired with the Treant Protector, very, very strong lane, might be potentially strong enough to challenge this Tidehunter and push him out.
Oh, for sure. I mean, you'd think with the Tidehunter Kraken Shell animation, you'd assume that he'd be able to shrug off a bug on his backside, but clearly that's not really the case. Has a situation where, even though he has water washing all over his watermelon body, that little swarm bug still stays on. Tidehunter has a decent amount of armor, but nothing that the Weaver can't rip through, and it's a lot of early game potential. This is a nasty safe lane to go up against, regardless of what pos 4 you pick here on the side of Astronaut.
Yeah, I just got smashed by this combo in Battle Cup yesterday. Still
Ooh,
a little
yeah.
tender. Yeah.
It's not fun. And Weaver, he's a hero that can really ramp up and continue being aggressive. Invoker being snatched up as well. This is a hero that, I think in the earlier stage of 7.34 and the various letter patches, with the change to Universal, he was absolutely disgusting in the mid lane. Just couldn't be stopped. But more recently, I've kind of felt that this mid lane Invoker, unless you're in the hands of a specialist, it's not really felt quite as impactful. What's your experience, Malibu?
Uh, just having resets that the Invoker grants you in the
Mhm.
fights, pretty nice. I've seen the disarm be very, very value against likes of like CK,
Right.
but CK is not in the pool. So maybe they're just planning for more control. They want to ensure that the Weaver can run around the fight just unthreatened. And Invoker, great hero to do that.
Yeah. I'm looking more at the Alacrity, if I'm being honest, right? Alacrity Weaver is going to be able to tear up some of these engagements and even start to meaningfully push the towers. Weaver isn't really a hero I think about when I think about pushing fast. He kind of
Mhm.
gets the job done fast in terms of killing his opponents, but pushing is a whole other story. And yeah, I think good point from Pop Tart. Shout out to Pop Tart. They ran Invoker 4, and I was just about to point this out because what is the
Yeah.
benefit of having mid laners flex to support roles? You can play mid lane heroes as supports. Yeah, a lot of control coming through, and I think the Alacrity is what I'm looking at. But now with these two squishy heroes picked, they snap up the Spectre, they snap up the Grimstroke. I think this is a combo that Virtus Pro at TI really, really showed the strength of.
Yeah, and I'm thinking about it. I'm just really still fixated on that Alacrity with the Weaver. If you pair that with the Shard, you can get at least like
I don't
2 attacks, maybe.
Maybe,
Gymnate cooldown's
maybe.
2.5 at the max rank,
Mm-hmm.
so you're not gonna get an Octarine to lower
No,
that
no,
cooldown.
no.
Maybe if you have
That'd be a little
really bad
crazy.
items, yeah. Maybe if you have really bad tier 4s, you just get a Spell Prism, and then you can kind of get two Geminates with the Shard out. But I do like
Okay.
to see the Slardar pick coming out. Maybe go in with an overall minus armor kind of draft for
Yeah.
Sporkface.
I mean, we talked about Weaver a bit being a very early game, mid game centric hero. The Slada just further extends that window both earlier and later, right? This amplified damage, or rather corrosive haze, as it's properly called now, is going to allow for easy Roshans and gonna crush this lane quite literally against the Spectre Grimstroke. Invoker can Alacrity him early on, the Cold Snap, the chase down. It's gonna be very hard for this Spectre to get much done. I mean, I'm thinking maybe you pair the Grimstroke with the Tide, and then the partner desperately tries to use that superior move speed to pester away at the Slada. This is a hero I've seen more and more in my own pubs. They go for a bit of a greedier route. They don't immediately rush the Blink Dagger, maybe a Mask of Madness or maybe a Midas as well. And they go straight for the Aghanims, actually. And the status resist coming out from that low puddle, I think people have forgotten about it, but it is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, status resistance will be great here. Get you out of that Ravage a little earlier, get you out of the Inkswell stun a little bit. But Slardar, building that Ags, he almost feels kind of like a Tidehunter at that point. You just walk at towers and let them try to pull you off the tower. And I really, really love this Necrophos pickup coming out from Sporkface, and a hero to match it that we haven't seen in a while, the Death Prophet.
Yeah, so a nice bit of tower push, something that Astronaut Esports were definitely lacking apart from the partner. I mean, if you gotta send Rem up there to blast towers and that's your only way of getting objectives, I don't know how good you're feeling. It looks like Roseanne is with the squad. I was just about to say, we weren't sure
Ooh.
whether Roseanne would be there, but full squad here on both sides. Sporkface Killaz out with Babatich with the Necrophos last pick. Any particular side that you're favoring here? Any immediate winner that you see in this draft?
I see some sneaky kind of slow push coming out from Astronauts. Achy Bones probably gonna go Meteor Hammer. That paired with Rim, I think they're just gonna take all of these tier 1s probably by 15 minutes. If
Right.
if they don't get stomped in lanes. Uh, if Muzi survives the early game, maybe Astronauts win this, but Sporkface, it seems like a much easier draft to execute. You just kind of click on heads
Yeah.
and run them down.
Yeah, fair. The one sort of caveat to that, and the reason why I'm really liking this Death Prophet last pick. Now, I was favoring Sporkface Killaz as well, but with this Death Prophet, I think they kind of put Sporkface in a bit of a position here. Babbage is going to take a while to ramp up to the point where he's a good enough frontliner. They have a lot of magic damage on Astronauts to work him down in the early stage, and they don't really have the best wave clear. Right, on the side of Sporkface, they're gonna have to hope that the Treant Protector maxes out the Nature's Grass, and that's gonna be enough. If not, like you mentioned, these early towers are gonna go down, and when that happens, this Slardar that's still gonna be trying to farm up, this Necrophos that's still gonna be ramping up, they might not necessarily have the space to work in this game, and they might be crushed underfoot before they even know it. But we're into things here. Astronaut Esports, Sporkface Killaz, best of 3 for a spot in the grand finals here. They'd love to start out their Season 5 with a bang. I mean, no better way than to build confidence in the lineup they're going to play with for the rest of the few weekends here. We'll have to see how things go.
Trades are permitted in the NADCL, but we've only seen them come out so far in Div 2. So let's see. Let's see if they're happy with their picks and if they're going to survive to week 2. You know, no looking back saying, oh, man, we could have won this draft if we had this player instead.
Yeah. I mean, everybody's still kind of feeling each other out for A and B, says in all chat. Come on.
You know, it's a tight-knit community here in the North America Dota scene.
Yeah, I can tell they all love each other here. I'm sure they all are very excited to play up against Yodi, Brody, Nexus, who have looked pretty strong, right? Going up against both Bullish and Fryboys, it was a tight one yesterday, the 2-1 series. But definitely earning their place in the grand finals, and now we'll see another team hopefully put up a strong showing here.
First time NADCL involvement, just getting a really strong team put together. This Weaver, Dragonson, walking up into 3 Euros, not scared at all.
Yeah, I mean, for now it looks to be a 2-for-2 exchange in terms of the bounty.
Yeah, you gotta think that oh well, Radiant leaving that 4th one unplucked in their jungle.
Maybe they just assumed on Muzi that it's already gone, right? But nobody's made it there. I guess they're both just making assumptions that it's gone. Unfortunate little sentry ward placed by I guess midfielder, or rather Henry, and that's immediately going to get countered out. So no small cam block. That's going to be a bit of a problem for the Slardar to deal with in terms of lane position.
Yeah, early range creep secure with the Sunstrike and Crush combination there. That creep's dead.
Yeah. And I mean, with this Weaver tree, and it's gonna be very tough. Mr. Achy Bones might just be living up to his name a little bit here with the amount of harass he's gonna be eating. It's definitely a tough situation to trade into, right? Tidehunter definitely feels like a hero that emphasizes on the attrition, but it's not gonna matter if they just blood grenade Dragonson down. They just run down the Weaver. Gets caught without his Shikuchi, and now Chola forced to turn tail and head back to his tower as well, not expecting that Gush, the stroke of fate. It's not enough. With those little stick charges.
Spells coming out from Roseanne and Achy Bones. Interesting to take the Gush level 1. You know, usually you think about that if you're going for First Blood at a rune, but it just lets them turn up the pressure onto this dire safe lane immediately. You know,
absolutely.
Weaver feels strong right now, but those changes to his Shikuchi cooldown. It used to be like people were running in this 4 because you could just Shikuchi in and out of the wave all day.
Yeah.
But that low level cooldown, 15 seconds, is a very long time when you're trying to contest farm.
Yeah. Leaves a very big 10-second-ish window, but mid lane, it's a solo kill. How has that happened? Old White spots him under the tower, probably snipes him down with a little bit of a Crypt Swarm. And we mentioned the magic damage coming out. There's a lot of it coming out from Astronauts, and if this Necro doesn't come out of the gates in a good position, he can very easily fall behind to the Death Prophet here. Fate squaring up onto Rem here in this bot side. Fairy Fire, Sunstrike is in range. Nicely done. Henry finds his mark there, showing that mid lane prowess on this support Invoker. Gets it done.
Yeah, both off lanes really punching up out of their weight class here and giving the safe laners a what for.
Oh, here they come. Making use of this early level in Shikuchi. Nothing to be found. One more little swing of that sword, and they'll chop down the Weaver again. Did someone call pest control? I mean, they are absolutely hammering him up here.
They've got an infestation for sure. Nah, you know, it's not how I really saw this early laning stage playing out for Sporkface in the safe lane.
Same. I mean, we can hypothesize all we want about the laning matchups, but if you're gonna just kind of fall prey to the spell slinging that Astronaut esports are putting out right now, it's always a situation, right? I mean, we see these dominant laners. I might have to hold that thought as the off laners, like you said, they are just non-stopping aggression through the roof. Not to be left behind here. Both off-lane duos just looking at the opposing end get a kill. They're like, I can do that. I can do that. I can get one more. One-upping each other non-stop. I wouldn't be surprised to see Achy Bones go for another here, just to show him who's boss.
Yeah, you know, in this Radiant safe lane, Pugna takes Netherward first. Kind of think that you need to take Decrep against this Slardar, but we don't have time to talk about that as the Inkswell coming out onto Chola. But Achy Bones pulling away. Not gonna go with landing the stun there.
Yeah, the thing is, Dragon Sin has hit this level 3, and as they get more and more levels, it's only gonna be easier for Trient as well as Weaver to dance their way in and out and juke out the Inkswell. Tidehunter, not the most privileged with the highest move speed here in the early stage of the game. Roseanne needs to keep his distance. If he gets tagged by a Leech Seed, it might just be all over. But right now, Muzi, he looks to be the target. They bash him up. He has the Lotus, and he'll be fine. Fate still standing his ground, but taking quite a bit of damage just from crushing the Netherwart. Slams back his mana pool, and he's not going to have another crush to work with for a little bit. But struggling here in this bot side. I mean, the CS, it's not too bad, all things considered, right? All these laners, despite the aggression back and forth, they are keeping up with each other. And Babatich, despite that death, is sitting at the top of the last hits.
Achy Bones getting low in the top lane, too.
Oh, Achy Bones.
Chola walking and punching. Roseanne gets a really, really great Inkswell off to peel the Weaver off of the Tidehunter, though.
Yeah.
Well played.
And with the Ring of Health, he's just going to start regenerating up. So every time you're not killing this Tidehunter 100 to 0, it's not really going to matter. Dragon Sin, unfortunately, gets his courier sniped out. Not what you want to see. And a bit of a different sight here in this mid lane. Usually we see the Necrophos jumping behind the tier 2's. Rem has rotated the top side. Phantom's Embrace. The hug comes a little bit too slow though, and Weaver is paranoid of physical contact. He gets out of there.
Yeah, Rem, just knowing that the catapult is up. Kind of content to come up here, throw some Nether Blasts onto the tower. Level 2 Nether Blast now. Let's see if they can put some pressure onto this tier 1 tower. But
yeah, very nice timing here.
Into this Treant Protector though. Already got a level in Living Armor. No Meteor Hammer just yet on the Achy Bones either. But tier 1 already. Almost 50% health here.
Okay, I don't know about that. That's a little bit of a reach, man. But I don't know. You give it a bit too much credit. That's like 1/6 at best. You know, it was a good move. It was cute, but I think they very quickly realized there wasn't much to be found here. Henry gonna snack up that mid rune. Haste is the spawn, and deny that from that Death Prophet. So Old White, you can imagine a Death Prophet with Haste rune running at you. That shit is terrifying, but you're gonna avoid that horror for now.
Yeah, it's a Night Terror for sure.
Set up, Meteor, the stun. It's all too easy for Fade and Henry. And Muzi, I mean, he just is subjected to watch his safe lane support just die over and over. There's not really much you can do against the Slardar. And that's why it's such a strong pick, right? If you're not really contesting him in the early levels, he can just run away with the early stage, ramp up, and suddenly Muzi, he's not going to be able to exist here much longer.
Yeah, he's not even going to be able to exist under his tower here.
Oh my
Fade not even
goodness.
having level 6 for the Corrosive Haze yet.
Yeah, I mean, Muzi needs to watch where he walks. The Sunstrike could follow him where he stands and just drop him down. Wisdom Rune 1 for 1 though. The supports will keep up in terms of the EXP. Not too bad.
Yeah, you don't want to see either side falling behind here. Nah. None of the supports were really in a place where they could make a move for the enemy's Wisdom Rune either.
Yeah.
Oftentimes I wonder, like, is it better to get the Wisdom Rune and die die in the attempt, or to just kind of let it go to a wash?
Yeah, I mean, both sides, really. I mean, the story of this game so far has been playing very safe, right? They have both just kind of, starting to feel each other out for now.
No.
I mean, Old White, he's doing more than just feeling. He is getting all up in there. Chola wants to take part in the action, though, but with the little bit of move speed that Old White is afforded, with those phase boots, don't think they can really catch up to them. The control is a little bit lacking at this stage in the game. One of the downsides of picking that Necrophos mid.
Ooh. Great play coming out here from Roseanne and Old White. Sniping this power rune top, getting the illusion. And the Inkswell onto the Death Prophet, sealing that kill.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they're just happy with getting something out of the Exo there because it's a very preemptive pop and, not a lot of tower damage done, but Old White, it's about sending a message, He's like, I'm gonna kill you if you walk up here. And this, what's crazy? The fact that the side of Astronaut, they basically snap-picked this Death Prophet, so they knew they wanted it already, almost in spite of the Necrophos pick, but Old White's been doing mad work in this mid lane. Now, we didn't even talk much about the solo kill at first, and, I mean, even now, he is just kind of hammering him. Now, it's weird because net worth-wise, even in this early stage of the game, Astronaut esports are actually behind on all their calls. It doesn't really feel that way.
Yeah, the game's feel much more even though, oh my god, Babbage has 20 more CS than the Death Prophet. But they're going to get another hero kill here on Muzi. Still with the Grin tag.
Yeah, we don't talk about that. All we talk about is the 2 earn charges now in his pocket. That's gonna allow him to get things going here, perhaps chain even more kills. Henry did manage to get a cheeky little rune deny right in the middle of 3 heroes though, as now Mr. Achy Bones will be the target of pressure in this top side. Babbage wants to use that Reaper Scythe. Cut a watermelon in half, why don't you? Gonna toss it out, slice him down, and they'll be having some fruit for dessert here in the top side.
Yeah, getting that early first Reaper Scythe stack really gonna pay off here. But they're gonna have Exorcism to run down any other tier 1 that they want after they pressure this one mid. You have Catapult coming out here in 10 seconds. Great timing with the Exorcism, and at that time, Muzi's gonna have Shadow Step available too. So really sinister pairing, and you don't have Reaper Scythe to combat that.
Yeah, but good thing for Sporkface, it seems like they are also in possession of a watch. They know what the time is, and they're gathering around this mid lane to make sure the defense is mounted. We talked about them not really having the best wave clear so far, but all things considered, they've done a pretty good job in terms of peeling some of these Astronaut esports heroes off their towers, right? Here comes the Meteor, trying to clear the creep wave. Babbage going to come out with the Death Pulse as well. They will commit the Exorcism and start running him down, though. Cold Snap going to try and trip him up. Ice Wall as well. It's a lot of move speed slow, but Fate just running forward.
Muzi
back, and in comes Muzi slicing down Babbage. Great first kill to get, as Rem now under a little bit of trouble. They will soulbind up the Slada as well as the Weaver, and now Old White caught in between 4 heroes on the side of Sporkface, and the response is sounded perfectly. Here comes Dragon Sin, ready to chain up a couple more, and with
Muzi
that corrosive haze, they're chasing Muzi. Dragon Sin tags that for a double kill for himself, and now onto Roseanne, still keeping the distance for the Inkswell. Has a time lapse available and not nearly enough damage. You can try, but the Sunstrike, it'll find you. And the last little Geminate attack, it's a triple kill for Dragon Sin. Huge recovery for him after that rough early laning stage. He makes it happen, and now has that Dragon Lance flying out to him. Very, very nice stuff for the Weaver.
Death Prophet almost had enough gas in the tank to turn it around, but ran out of Spirit Siphon charges. If you could have paired the Spirit Siphon with the Soulbind under that tier 1, maybe it's a different story, but I hear
a bit of an ambitious Reaper Scythe. I mean, you see the health bar percentages, but Achy Bones, he's still gonna go down. They still make it work, as now Roseanne coming forward to help out Muzi. They have that stun available and no more time lapse. Oh, no. They know this Weaver's stuck against the wall, but he'll still be able to scramble out of there. No additional backup, and Babbage able to hold the front line, forcing Roseanne back. Just brawling non-stop in this game. As Muzi just jumps straight for him. Spots him on the wave. I mean, a bit of a mistake. Babbage still trying to chase him down, but Muzi will slip away to the shadows. And won't have a TP.
Oh no, the Ogre stuns him!
Oh my goodness, no way. No way, are you kidding me?
200 health.
Babbage, does he know?
Charge. Go to Strength Treads. Oof.
He's trying to juke, he's trying to jive, he's trying to get out of here alive, and he'll be fine. Thank goodness Muzi gets his counterpart, and he'll be just fine.
Henry does have Sunstrike cooked up, but I don't think it's going to deal 500 damage? No.
Nah, he ain't
Certainly
gonna go
not.
for it.
All right, so that puts Muzi almost at the blade mail timing, and we don't have time to talk about that blade mail as the fight
We
comes
do
out
not
here in the
have
bottom
time to
lane.
talk
What do you
about
see?
anything. Dragon Sin, he's just gonna outrun that Exorcism, and with a lift up, another situation where Old White is popping this Exo and doesn't find anything. We talked about the early pressure that could come out from Astronaut. It's what you're hoping to see from the Spectre, right? With the involvement, with the early level in the Shadow Step, when the cooldown's so low now, you want to get involved, you want to chain up that advantage and get those early towers. But all you've managed to get so far is, it feels like just slamming your head against the wall. Sporkface, they're out farming you on all their cores, and they're getting these important kills. Now, Old White has to back off. He can't even finish off that bot tower.
Yeah, you know, so it's been a bit of a back and forth, and they're just brawling in these lanes. Astronauts have been able to clear in both tier 1 in the off lane and the mid lane. Even against this Treant Protector, like, Sporkface has been standing toe-to-toe and winning these fights. But,
Yeah.
I mean, the map control against the Spectre, if you don't have it, it's going to come back to bite you in the ass late game, I think.
For sure.
Now we see
I mean,
Muzi has the blade mail finished. No earn charges anymore. He's used all of those.
yeah. Had to juice his entire urn just to get out of that rough situation in the top side. I mean, I'm sure he's fine. It's more useful against Necro in the later stage of the game, but you do have a lot of magic damage anyway, so I don't think you're too hung up on that.
No.
I think the main thing for me that's really surprising is how well Sporkface have kept up in terms of farm. They've somehow managed to waste a lot of Astronaut esports time. I mean, yes, they get the towers in the mid and the top, but with this draft and with a Death Prophet, you kind of almost expect it, right? So the fact that they're able to buy so much time while doing so and get the return kills.
Speaking of
Here comes
return
Babbage.
kills, you're
Yeah,
going to see
I mean,
another Reaper
Roseanne.
set come out in the bottom.
Just get those stacks up, get the bag up, Babbage. He has, what, 2 already?
2.
And counting?
Oh, yeah.
He's gonna
2
keep this
counting.
one going.
But those boots of travel, you know, you're playing playing the Necrophos essentially like a Spectre. If someone gets low enough to guarantee a kill, you just TP in, scythe them, and go back to farming.
Yeah.
Got the Force Staff picked up on the Necro. What do you think about that, Sneeze? Good timing, good item for them?
I think it's okay because Necrophos is going to struggle a little bit, especially if the Tide Hunter's going to do what he's doing right here, right? With the Meteor Hammer, with the slow, you want to be able to fish yourself out of sticky situations. And there really aren't a lot of saves coming out from Sporkface. Henry can throw out the Tornado, but that's really about it. And Babbage, I think he's already felt the full brunt of the damage that can come out from Astronaut. So being able to reposition himself, get himself back to the relative safety of his team, and maybe force an overcommitment is what he's looking to do.
Oh,
Ravage.
the Force
and
Staff
there's
came
the
up!
Force Staff. Come on, Babbage.
Oh,
He's too smooth. You can't see it under his ugly ass robes, but there's dancing under there. He just absolutely schools them. And that's a Ravage gone. I mean, that's really just been the story of this game. Astronaut esports, they're using these ultimates, but they just aren't finding a thing.
I mean, you find a tier 2. You know, Constellation, Copium, I guess. But
I guess.
Sporkface going to respond in force, sending 3 heroes bottom to go after Old White. But Old White kind of privy to this. Hides under the tier 2 tower.
I
For the
wonder-
last little tail end of the exorcism.
Look, Malibu, I
do you
wonder
think
if
about?
this is fine. Because Astronaut esports, like you said, they are claiming these towers. It's not like the timing is really bad, so they're getting it done. But I'm just wondering, with how much net worth they're losing out to the side of Sporkface, are they going to be able to take a 5-on-5 fight? In theory, they have brilliant teamfight ultimates. But in practice, it kind of feels like in the engagements they've taken so far, Fate and the Weaver, they've just been able to outmuscle their foes here.
So I think if Astronauts, they have all of their ultimates up, they can take a fight. And also something that can't be overlooked, nobody on Sporkface has a Dispel. So if they get a 5-man silence from the Death Prophet, they don't have a way to deal with that.
Coming out, Overgrowth, they're onto Muzi, but Rem with full force healing him up. And they'll turn their sights towards Mr. Achy Bones instead. They know there's no Ravage available, saw it up in this top side. The chase down, it's gonna take them a little while. He doesn't really have the privilege of the sprint or the Shikuchi or surviving the scythe while we're at it. Mr. Achy Bones, another tumble, and it's 3 charges now for Babbage on this Necrophos. He will be feeling good, and now he's looking at Old White Fade. The setup as well. This
Pink
is what I
dagger on
love about
Fade.
Slada. Gonna be able to continuously set up these kills with a nice attack speed. Yules as well, creating the distance, and he should be fine here. Muzi and Rem waiting in the wings. Babbage needs to watch his step. There's actually a diffuser onto Muzi, trying to get the touch onto Babitic. It's a
Beautiful
huge
free
crush and smashes the partner's little head in. Where you going, homie? Roseanne, he's backing up his allies, but that is... I mean, Astronaut Esports, it continuously feels like they're trying to master these engagements, but that last little component's just not clicking. Some of these connections on the spells, some of these combinations in the team fights, they're just not landing the way you'd like them to.
Yeah, this Slardar Fade, unpunished, able to weave in and out of these fights, play around the Blink Dagger timing, and just sprint in and out, getting great crushes, great bashes.
I mean,
I think
he's
they really
top...
have a good method for control for him just yet.
Doesn't seem like it. I mean, he's top net worth right now. Blink Dagger, Echo Saber, and working towards the BKB as one component already. All things considered, excellent timing here for this offlaner. And Slardar very much a feast of famine offlaner, right? He's not really a hero that can flash farm. So if you don't do well in the lane, you're kind of in a rough spot. But that's not really a discussion that we'll have. I guess we'll never know. I mean, he's up here right now.
Yeah, and you know, Sporkface pressuring second tier 1. Not really in a position to be met by Astronauts. However, they are smoked, sending 4 heroes mid. Old White looking for the silence.
Yeah, they are looking for angle. Old White looking for silence. Achy Bones looking for a Ravage, hopefully to connect this time. All the cooldowns available. As soon as they see someone, you know Muzi's gonna come in with a Shadow Step.
Yeah, who do you think gets deleted first?
Oh, I don't know.
For this Invoker?
Yeah, probably, right? I mean, that's the easy target. They might have to full focus down the Weaver because the Ravage feels like the only time they'll be able to get him.
Sure. Chola getting the shard on the Treant Protector, very, very valuable scouting tool.
Yeah.
Gonna be able to recon and get a little bit of information about this mid push.
And they spot on Mr. Achy Bones and that'll be the blink revealed. So they would have loved to try and catch them off guard there, but Achy Bones, you know, he is the frontliner for the squad after all. Has to show his little face there. Spabitic will meet him in the mid lane. Now, the pings come out and they're making a beeline for the top side. They seem to know someone's in this area, but it almost feels like Astronaut, they're a bit indecisive with what they want to do now. They would still love to take a team fight for sure, but it feels like the jig is up a little bit. Sporkface Killaz know exactly what's going on, and take a look at their map positioning. The 3 heroes just kind of at the bot side, scrambling around, you know, pushing out the wave. Babitic is playing very, very conservative, and the only one showing is Chola. He will just walk this one off back into the tree line, you know? I mean, I say that, but Muzi has found him. They're actually going to commit the overgrowth and try and TP out.
No way.
Oh, no. There was no way he could have been allowed to. That would have been illegal if he got out.
Yeah, ambitious TP there, to say the least. And I think that's kind of what Astronauts were looking for. They're just kind of pinging back and forth between the top and the mid lane, knowing they need to be together to get anything done, but not really finding a good target until that Treant just oversteps a little bit. Now, Catapult in tow, they are cleared to take this tier 2 mid.
Look, this is an interesting situation because if you look at the map movements, what it almost seems like is Sporkface. They want to rush this Roche with the Slardar. They've asked the Weaver to come through the Twin Gates and snatch this away. But I'm just wondering, I mean, it's coming at the cost of your mid tower right now. That's kind of been how it's been this entire game, right? Astronauts, they've been focusing on the objectives, and Sporkface, they've been dodging, ducking, and weaving, and trying to get whatever kill that they can. I'm just wondering whether the Aegis is actually going to power them up enough. So they get the tier 2, and now the lines are drawn. You see a big fat arrow being illustrated on the map by Dragon Sin, but they're a bit too late. The Aegis is going to be in the hands of the Weaver. They lose basically their tier 2s, both top and bot, for this extended sort of situation they found themselves in right now. And it feels so weird because Astronaut Esports, based on the position they have on the map, you'd think they have an advantage, but gold-wise, that is not the case.
Yeah, Astronauts have been taking all the objectives they want. You know, maybe you don't want to give up the Roche, but I don't think you're in a compromised position. You know, you value the tier 2 over that early Aegis token.
Okay, so I do have to ask, who do you think this current game state favors right now? Because I'm struggling a little bit. I'm trying to figure out.
I mean, Astronauts, they have all of their big spells ready to go, locked and loaded. Honestly, I would have preferred getting the Aegis onto the Slardar. He's been the one in the middle of these fights, just really duking it out. The Weaver, now you've got BKB, you've got time lapse whenever you need it. I think Astronauts can just get this last lane of outer towers unchallenged almost. And if they get that, that's going to shrink the net worth lead that Sporkface have.
Yeah,
but
sure.
I think we're going to see it all play out in front of us here at this bottom tier 1.
Yeah, this could be the fight. They've been waiting, feigning ignorance for this entire time. And now they've chosen
Roseanne.
their time to strike. They're straight onto the backside. He finds another fade. Keeps on looking and keeps on hunting them down, forcing the BKB out from Old White. He'll just scramble away, but Mr. Aki Bolt, no chance to even pop the Ravage. He has a very good opportunity to do so at this point, but he's too busy running away. He doesn't stand a chance against Babatich. And Old White can't get the touch onto anyone. BKB is out, and so is he. 3 down for the side of Astronauts, and the side of Sporkface, they strike back.
Wow. Sporkface strike back in resounding fashion. Now they're looking for Muzi here in the top lane. Henry's Invoker throws the tornado, whiffs. Muzi back in, trying to click this Invoker down, but does he know that they're all coming towards him? The Weaver's there, the Tree Protector's there. He's rooted by the Shard, and now the tip comes out.
Come
Surely
on.
he's dead.
A Rem?
The heal, the degrab.
Rem?
It's not enough.
No way. I mean, he's just gonna get crushed. Fade makes his way all the way from the bot side straight to the top. This Slada, don't underestimate how fast this hero can traverse the map through the river. Swimming upstream just like a salmon, and I mean across the map, Astronaut Esports just get destroyed right now. 8-17, and despite all the towers that they've taken, the side of Sporkface, they don't give a shit. They had a game plan all along. They get that Roche, and now they're the ones in the driver's.
Yeah, that's just the economy of playing Dota 2 in this game state. You know, you have to spend a couple tier 1s, you have to spend a couple tier 2s. You're just paying for the time that you're getting in these items, getting these levels with those towers. And here, it's paid off for Sporkface as they're able to catch the Astronauts around the map. And initially, you lose 3 heroes in that bottom fight at the tier 1. It feels bad, but it's not worst case scenario. However, Muzi really overstepping his boundaries in the top lane and then dragging Rim into that. Losing those 2 heroes, that is the absolute worst case scenario.
Yeah, maybe a bit of false sense of power there, because he's gone for a different build to some of the Spectres we've seen, right? It's been Blade Mail, Urn, sometimes, you know, very rarely the Vessel, but then at certain instances, they like to go for that Radiance, which is what we saw come out on the main stage during TI, but gone for a Diffusal Blade instead. Definitely amps up the solo kill potential, but that might be what had baited him in that situation, thinking that he could get the kill on the Invoker.
Yeah, against a hero like this Slardar, this Weaver, oh my god, we don't have time to talk about that. Blink in, coming into the Inkswell, into the Soulbind. Oh,
Popping up the Ravage, but they just don't have any damage. Every single hero on Sporkface is healthier than my grandmother at 8. Okay, no, I'm kidding, but I mean, at this point, the side of Astronaut Esports are dropping like my grandmother. It's not looking too good. 4 members already down. It just, I mean, that was supposed to be the team fight, but you start off, Achy Bones, he's looking at the Necrophos, and then the Necrophos Death Seekers forward. He blinks up, doesn't see the Necrophos anymore. He's still thinking, should I Ravage? I mean, this Necrophos has just penetrated our back line. Like, what are we doing? And before he can even react, the rest of the squad on the side of Sporkface just flood in, crush them completely. You don't have enough HP in the world on these supports on Astronaut to survive the Slada smash. And Fade, he is just making them look like mincemeat with his staff right now.
Yeah, we're really starting to see the impact of the low levels on the Radiant support here. Roseanne level 8 on the Grimstroke, Pugnoli level 10.
You ever, Malibu, you ever play like support against literally a farm Slada? It's actually hell. It's actually
you
hell
show,
on
you
earth.
die.
The worst part is when you try and come through and save your carry, he just crushes you and whacks you one time. A singular time, and you just get bashed down into the grave. It feels so uninteractive, and the funniest part is, it's also against a Pugna, right? It's a Pugna who can limit this Slada by means of Decrepify. It just hasn't happened because Fate has been so quick to the punch.
Absolutely. You ever see Terminator, Mike?
I'm gonna embarrass myself and say no, but please tell. I know Arnold Schwarzenegger. I know
Right.
Arnold's in there.
Yeah, so there's a scene where early on in the movie, Arnold, as a Terminator, just goes into this nightclub and just absolutely beats the shit out of everybody, and that's Fade on the Slardar. Just enters in, turns his head, says, "You're next," and just runs him down.
I don't even think he... I mean, the only hits he's turning are those of his opponents. He's just snapping their necks right off, it seems like. No chance of survival here. Astronaut Esports definitely feels like their backs are against the wall. Achy Bones supposed to be the frontliner here, but one little Death Seeker has him backed up already. They can keep this push going here.
little bit of a consolation. Tidehunter picks up the Aghanim Shard. Gonna be nice to limit the mobility of this Weaver. Maybe slow down the the Slardar. But Muzi
Oh,
using Shadow Step on seemingly nothing.
that was a tree. Come on, that was a tree and illusion, guys. Why would? That's a shadow step out of the pit. I mean, this has just felt like Astronaut Esports. They haven't really got a cohesive idea
White.
about how to play together. Old White with the nullifier, forced to pop the BKB. Here comes Chola. Throwing out that overgrowth,
Sunstrike
keeping
damage.
the Dare Prophet in place, but with that healing from the Ink Spell as well as the Spirit Siphons, he'll be fine, forcing out the Time Lapse and the BKB from Dragon Sin here.
Okay, cheeky plays coming out. I like all the sustain from Astronaut, but I think they're gonna be able to burst through it if they ever get the Slardar on top of her again.
Oh, nice little tuck from Rem. Finds a little corner where he's safe. Gets that TP out. I mean, all things considered, even if he died, it wouldn't be that big of a deal because, you know, boss 5, all that. But you know, preserving the life, definitely a moral battle won here.
Look at these observers coming out from the Sporkface Killers here on the top lane in the Ancient. Like if you leave this lane, leave the base, try to get any farm, they're gonna find you and they're gonna hunt you down.
Dead in the water. We didn't talk about this shot just yet because Mr. Icky Bones has been so behind, but no BKB on the Weaver, no time lapse. Huge pick off Dragon Sin. Getting caught with his pants down or whatever Weaver would wear on his lower half of his body. I don't know. I mean, they splat the bug, okay? You know, I'm going with that.
They should replace time lapse with lapse in judgment. Out of
Yeah, that, I don't
position.
know. I mean, that guy, he was really far forward all on his lonesome. The rest of the team, Sporkface, they don't seem to be too keen on continuing to put on the pressure. They've all split up to try and farm on their own. And yeah, that was a bit of a weird one for sure. Very aggressive positioning from the Weaver that has served him well so far. Not so much this time round. And
1500 gold.
Fade is gonna do the thing where he walks right into the location where his teammate just died, which definitely is an interesting thought. He gets away with it though because the rest of them, they're all just in bot, and they dead in the water, Babatich, only to walk away because they're like, yeah, okay, this is.
We do not want to be here. This is not a place where we exist. But yeah, you know, Astronauts, they see Slardar show on that top side of the map, and they know that they can make that play on the Weaver safely. So commands all around. Well done, Astro.
It's a bit of a longer row spawn here. 1 minute and 20 seconds left until that comes up. Unless I'm seeing that wrongly. Is it 1 minute? Yeah, it's 1 minute and 20 seconds.
114, yeah.
114 at this point. And would you know it? It's 110. That crazy how time works. But
You know,
yeah. Where famously
Artists-
waits for no one.
the artists capture the essence of time and its beauty all through our history. But maybe a Weaver will do it the best here. Hoping to jump back, turn back time.
Hopefully he's still lapsing in time and not in his judgment like you mentioned. I mean, Chola, he'll just jump forward. No need for any hesitation there. He knows that his target is Mr. Achy Bones. The tag in the tornado from long range midfielder finds it and sets it up for the
Hey.
squad. I mean, Rem doesn't even stand a chance. Nullifier knocks him down, and here comes Babatich, force stuffing in. No fear whatsoever, but it's into a Ravage. But where is the follow-up damage? I'm saying this again and again. Astronaut Esports, oh my, he's in the middle of it all, but he's the one in trouble. I mean, the BKBs, they finish off Roseanne as well, and I can't help but feel like, I mean, this feels like the end of the line. You're gonna have to rely on a couple of mistakes from Sporkface Killaz. Maybe another lapse from Dragon Sin to really come back into this, but another swing. They're at 20k gold lead right now.
Yeah,
And
20K
I'm gonna
net
be
worth
real.
opening up. What do you think, Berm?
Malibu,
What we
I
got?
don't see the angle. I don't know how it's happening. They don't even have a Ravage anymore. They might not have a Tide Hunter if we look at this a little bit longer.
Yeah, that nullifier coming out on Dragon Sin's Weaver, massive pickup, really just ensures that the Pugna's gonna melt. No Ghost Scepter, no Force Staff, no decrep available.
The tough part is, you know, Rem, he hasn't even been playing bad this game, right? It's just been a situation where Sporkface Killaz, they're so far ahead, and throughout your entire first 15 minutes, yeah, you get the objectives, but you don't get any kills, and you really needed to just kind of edge out that net worth advantage over these heroes. Head straight in for the second Roche right now. Astronaut Esports, they're smoked out, but they've kind of gone to the opposite end of the map. Ended up finding themselves in mid instead. Yeah, I mean, they might get Invoker, but jumps out of there.
Yeah, I mean the kill count is kind of telling the story of this match. 9-24. You claim the towers in some of these lanes, but you're not punishing Sporkface as they were farming the map, just building up that network over time, getting obviously the kills of their own.
The crazy thing is, I'm realizing the weakness of this Astronaut esports draft, right? Yes, you have the Tide Hunter and the Death Prophet. The thing about these two heroes is they love to fight in the lanes. We didn't see a single smoke move into the jungle to maybe hunt down the Weaver or maybe even the Slardar on the bot side. Nothing of the sort. They have a spec in their arsenal, but they didn't really quite move around the map quite as much as I expected. They were mostly running down the lanes, focused on the objectives, and when Sporkface would bring the numbers, that's where they would buckle. And right now, I mean, they are more than buckling. They are just kind of at the mercy, it feels like, of the Sporkfaces. The Killaz, technically. I mean, you know what I mean.
Of course. Yeah. And yet, yeah, I think you draft this Astronaut's esports team. You have these slow cores. You have the Tide, you have the Death Prophet. Until she gets the levels in Exorcism, she's not gonna have that speed up. But you also have these slow supports. The Pugna, the Grimstroke. Oh, what do we see here?
Yeah, I mean, the smoke breaks on the Weaver, but he doesn't know which angle that little culprit is coming from. So Death Prophet will be able to get away with her life there. And I don't really know. I mean, I'm looking at this game and I'm trying to see whether there's an item or a timing or any sort of situation that kind of turns things around here, but I don't see it at the moment. I mean, Icky Bones looks like he's working. I mean, he had a plate mail. Now he's looking at the Axe instead, perhaps to clear the creep wave. I mean, the Spectre, Nullifier on the Spectre, maybe that changes something. I don't know. I mean,
it helps out a little bit.
I mean, now you can hit the Necro for sure, but I think at that point he's still doing more damage to you than you are to him.
Yeah, and even with the Nullifier, you can't really stop Deathseeker unless you get a good silence off. Which is that repositioning tool in the Necrophosis kit. So strong. Because you're going to really outlast some of that Nullifier tick, get into a better spot, and then, speaking of better spots, they're going to find Roseanne, who's in a terrible spot. Babbage, using the Deathseeker forward. Going to secure this kill with the right click. Unable to get the Reaper's Scythe off due to the Phantom.
Chola dropped his keyboard accidentally there for a moment. That's why he didn't overgrowth. No flames, okay? Happens to the best of us. Trees are known to be a little bit slow on the typing speed, so show some mercy and compassionate. Damn, English is escaping me today. That's rough. I mean, you're a teacher. Tell me the right word. Compassion. Show some compassion for your fellow plant brothers. I don't know. Bot side, there's the siege coming out. Alacrity, just like we mentioned, only took 35 minutes for them to pull this one off. But the tower gonna go down very swiftly. Now, Icky Bones does have the Ravage. They can look for another opening again, but they really need to be cohesive with how they take this fight and burst down a single target. Icky Bones, Inkswell up.
Not wanting to use the Inkswell at all.
Yeah. It's tough. I mean, he's just being auto-attacked down by these little Forge Spirits and pulled in by the EMP. Forced the Ravage just to survive, but the Scythe, even with Rem trying to save him, it ain't gonna be enough. Runs into Sunstrike. Now Rem looking to be in a bit of trouble. He needs to back off and reset. But they'll just make quick work of the Rags. Here comes Fade. The one crush, one kill, and the Overgrowth onto 2. Muzi gonna pop that Manta and try and get back into base. They buy back in full though. Here comes the retreat. Sporkface, they need to get out of here alive. Chola might not be lucky though, going down on that Treant Protector 4v5 situation. He has to buy back himself, but I don't know how he's going to get back into it. And they're back in again. Fate finds another, and you have to buy back on fight. This is the last hurrah for Astronauts here. If not, they're going to be blasting off, and it definitely feels like it's going to be what I just said. I don't think they stand a chance. Babbage, he's just standing his ground in the face of the Nullifier and the Spectre. Gonna Deathseeker back to safety. But Fade, he has no fear whatsoever. Pops the BKB again, punching the Spectre, and Muzi is clocked out. Without your carry, GG is called. Astronaut Esports, they get completely outclassed in game number 1.
Yeah, Fade just punching the ticket to this win with that Slardar hero. Very strong. I think Slardar, when these other strength heroes are banned out, your Centaur's gone, your Chaos Knight's gone, just pick the Fishman.
Just pick the fish, man. I mean, that's kind of what the side of Astronaut thought as well, but their fish clearly not as dominating as the other fish. It's a battle of the off-lane fishes. And it
Right.
really didn't work out for the side of Astronaut. Now, look, Malibu, you've seen a lot of NADCL recently. You were
I
at
have.
TI. You're a
I
connoisseur
was.
of Dota at this point, a historian, a strategist, if you will.
Thank you.
Astronaut Esports, this draft. What happened here? What went wrong? And if you're the coach, what would you say about this play? What's the pep talk sounding like? Which area would you like them to improve on to come into game number 2?
You know, I see some great spells, some decent spell usage, but between the Death Prophet, between the Tidehunter,
Mm-hmm.
your cooldowns are much too high to play effectively with this Spectre. You know, Shadow Step early on, it's like a 45, a 50-second cooldown. Your
Yeah.
Ravage, your Exorcism are easily double that. You need to get some more low cooldown heroes with kill potential early on and play off of that. The sustain that comes out from the Pugna, it's not enough to survive the burst of Sporkface, especially whenever that Slardar can just run and get on top of you. Decrep's not going to do anything because you're not going to have time to cast it. The 8-0 Slardar, you need a draft to protect that safe lane, or at least be able to fight more than every minute and a half, 2 minutes. So shake it off, draft some low cooldown heroes that can brawl, and come back swinging in game 2.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I kind of understand where Astronaut Esports are coming from because they kind of want to have a mixed bag of things, right? They don't want to just kind of be caught out by superior team fight and Sporkface Killaz maybe just win one and it's over. But at the same time, you're trying to go into a skirmish lineup against arguably very, very strong skirmishing heroes. You talk about Treant Protector, Weaver, Necrophos. Sure, you can talk about the Reaper side being a longer cooldown, but Slardar, he's ready to go any day. And I think Fate
yeah.
proved that, right? I mean, 8-0 and 16, basically a flawless game. It's just weird because if you take a look at the graph, the way that it happened, it was so even up to the 20-minute mark. But that was considering Astronaut Esports, they were getting so many objectives. So it was really, I mean, without those, they'd be so far behind. I mean, that wraps up our game number 1 here. We'll be straight into game number 2. The players are already in the lobby. They're gonna get that action. I mean, right now, Sporkface Killaz 1 game away from going into the grand finals of this first tournament up against Yodi, Brody, Nexus here. But let's see whether Astronaut Esports can bring it back down to earth here and plant them in the ground and force a game number 3. We'll be back after this short break. Don't go anywhere. A warm welcome back, Sneeze and Malibu here, bringing you the action. One game is all that it's gonna take for the Sporkface Killaz to move up to the grand finals against Yodi Brody Nexus, who are very patiently waiting for them. Maybe a bit too patient. It's gonna be like 5, 6 more hours until that happens. But man, Malibu, didn't they look outclassed in that game one? That was rough.
Yeah, yeah. Sporkface really took it to the paint there. Astronauts just got ran over. That Slardar with the alacrity, Invoker just backing him, and just the
Yeah.
sustain coming out from the Necrophos. There was just no chance of stopping that train.
Look, I had a little think about it during the break, okay? We already mentioned this. We said, okay, look, you're picking the Spec Grimstroke on the side of Astronaut. You're playing for the skirmish, but you got long cooldowns. That's not really what you want. I'm thinking a different track. I'm thinking you kind of need to punish them in the lanes. You kind of let Babatich, Fate, and the Weaver just get away farming for 10 minutes straight. Yes, you get the towers, but apart from that, you didn't really get much else. And yeah, they always say Dota is about getting the buildings, but Dota's, you need to get to the final building, and you can't if they just kill you over and over.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah,
everybody loves a little team deathmatch here.
yeah,
And
that's what it felt like. That's what it felt like. I wonder whether there are any specific heroes that you felt like were a problem, or do you think it goes down to just the execution and the draft from Sporkface? The execution and the draft from Astronaut, because just at a glance, it didn't really look that bad, right? The draft, they kind of got out drafted if you look at both sides, but if you only look at the Astronaut esports lineup, it wasn't too bad.
yeah, I mean, the draft was okay. I just think Pugna just doesn't offer a lot in that context.
Okay,
I mean, the Slardar is just still gonna run you down.
that's fair.
You didn't have enough of a strong early laning phase to make the difference. I mean,
Right.
Pugna, he went top, went through the twin gate, not the team gate, and got a little bit of pressure on the tier one early, but they didn't really get any kills off of that rotation.
Yeah.
Um,
Can't really blame him because pick the partner, it's a thing of comfort here, but we'll see whether comfort can take them all the way as we have our draft ready for us. We'll get to that right now. We were talking about this, right, Malibu? We said, look, these players, they're dealing with a situation where they might not be playing the roles that they're used to. Rem, position 1 to position 5. Now, not knocking on his performance, I think he did great, but that might lend to why they are so hard, sort of more pressed on picking some of these heroes they've already succeeded with before, because age-old conundrum in Dota 2, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Rely on your opponents to try and come through and target what you're doing. So on that topic, is there anything on the Sporkface Killer side that you think Astronaut needs to ban out to start things off?
I think you either need to ban or perhaps take that Slardar.
Okay.
Um,
I'm thinking
like,
I'm
it
thinking
almost
more
feels
so the Treant Protector, because I feel like Slada, like, isn't it crazy to say that? Ban the Slada in
right, ban the
2020. Like, I can't believe those words just came out. Like, but I know what you mean, right? Like, Fate was such a big problem.
Mm-hmm. And astronauts, they do have first pick here. They could
Yeah.
they could ban the Slardar, grab the tree, or grab the tree, ban the Slardar. I don't really know if we feel good picking a Slardar in the first round.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that could just be, could just pick against it specifically for your safe lane at that point.
Yeah. So
Then we
they
do
haven't.
see Astro.
The thing
ban
is,
that tree out.
Astro haven't picked the Treant Protector just yet for themselves, right? I think Rem has only played Enchantress and Pugna so far. So maybe
Mhm.
Ench is somewhere up there. It's definitely a hero that can dominate the lane early in a much more oppressive way than a Pugna can. Sure, Pugna has this nice little legs that can carry him, move speed, can push some towers. Hey, look! Ench can do the same thing. No surprises there. So yeah, this time with the impetus and sending the creeps in, it's not really something that every hero can deal with. They choose to ban out the Treant Protector though, and I think that's an excellent decision, right? Chola, he's in a similar situation where he's switching roles. Force him on a support maybe he's not as comfortable on.
Yeah, and if you get the Enchantress out, you can dispel the Guardian Sprint from Slardar.
Oh yeah, you're right. The Slaughter's not gonna be a problem though. They ban it out and snatch up the Bristleback, Scourge McDuck style.
Ooh. Okay.
Okay.
And this hero is feels super cheesy, but it's in a great spot right now. And immediate counter comes out in the primal. You know, those quills just give you stacks for your uproar, and eventually you build up into the ag scepter. You get your break on it, and it's a matter of who can outpace who between the bristle and the primal.
Yeah. I mean, we've already seen Babbage succeed with this Primal Beast in the mid lane. I'm inclined to believe it might be him who is piloting this up. Now, the thing with Bristleback is it feels like he's a lot more explosive though, right? He can definitely just go back to the stacks that are set up for him, power farm those up, and come out of nowhere and burst you down 100-0 with that new Aghanim Scepter. The Primal Beast more so relies on a steady build-up throughout the game, it feels like. If you're not really landing the mark in these early kills or rotations coming up from the mid lane, that's where it can feel a little bit troublesome.
Yeah, it'll be a matter if Astronaut, if they are comfortable enough to both play the stack game and deliver the bristle a strong lane. Because if you can't get them to like level 4, level 5 without a ton of challenge,
Yeah.
the bristle's gonna have a tough time, and that tough time is gonna be exacerbated with the ancient apparition picked up by Sporkface.
Yeah, I mean, the setup basically writes itself, right? You have the Primal Beast going in. That's AA's favorite. He's like, thank you for setting up this Ice Blast for me. Bless ya. Everyone's dead on my screen. I mean, Primal Beast, you think about him onslaughting in and starting to pulverize someone. Sure, that's one component of it. But he also kind of compels a response, right? Suddenly you have a lot more Astronaut heroes flocking to the same location, and you know, Chola's gonna line up the shot, bam, everyone's dead. So yeah, I mean, Sporkface Killaz, very, very classic combo here. AA, you know, he was in a spot that of strength to the point where he was basically even banned out in the first 4. Some teams were prioritizing him that highly. And I think it really has to do with the recent change to the Ice Vortex, right? It endemically doing damage. Really, it's just so much more annoying than I expected. And Astronaut, they're actually going to pick the Oracle here. So doubling down, sure, AA Ice Blast does smash you if you fall below a certain HP percentage. But if you can time it well and in the hands of a Master Oracle player, it actually can work.
Yeah, you know, False Promise coming out. You get the Fate's Edict, you know?
Yeah.
Get that magic resistance going. They might be cooking something up special here. And yeah, I mean, it's kind of nice against the Primal. You get the Fortune's End, get that long range root and a Dispel. Can those stacks be dispelled from Uproar?
Uproar?
No.
We'll
no.
have to check. But I mean, right now the Dark Willow, another hero that is kind of a soft counter to the Primal Beast, right? He tries charging in, you tell him to go home. He tries charging in, finds himself in some brambles. He tries charging in, you're in the Shadow Realm. You know what I mean? It's not really a hero that Primal Beast squares up very well into. Can also rotate to the mid lane and cause him some problems if matchup is favorable for a gank. So like this pickup a lot. I think their support duo brings a lot of control and magic damage to the table, which I think, you know, is going to help out a lot with the Bristleback.
Yeah, I agree completely with that, Mike. And that was, in my opinion, that was something the Astronauts were lacking in the previous game. The Grimstroke gives a little bit of good area denial, but nothing compared to the Dark Willow. And
For sure.
the reach that Oracle and Dark Willow provide might give you just enough time to access that ancient apparition in the backlines and assassinate him before the Ice Blast is able to escape.
Now, the Grimstroke is banned now for Astronaut, but Sporkface are still going to snap up that Spectre, trying to play off the Ancient Apparition here. A lot of rotation potential across the map. Global setup now even more exacerbated by this Invoker. Once again, I'm inclined to believe that it's going to one up, and you're just going to have him creeping, ghost walking around, setting up, you know, haunts, not haunt anymore, sorry, shadow steps and ice blasts coming in from all over the map, and it's just going to be kill after kill. And Astronaut Esports, they may very quickly find themselves in a position where they have to ball up a lot tighter than they'd like.
Yeah, you know, this global presence that comes out from Sporkface is tough to contest, especially when it's so simple as, okay, Primal Beast, go pulverize that guy, and we're going to throw everything at them.
Yeah.
But hoping to disrupt that scene, the Earthshaker pick coming out from Astronauts.
I wonder whether this is a mid lane.
Or the mid lane. I think it will be.
Right? It kind of has to be, and I think this might be the response to the Primal Beast mid. Now, Earthshaker is really, really strong against these melee mid laners who rely on getting up close in range because he can just slam it home. By the time you get level 2, level 3 Enchant Totem, the physical damage is just off the charts, especially with a low phase boots if that's what you choose to go for. Now, Primal Beast presents a bit of an interesting situation where he doesn't really rely on his auto attacks to get last hits. He just kind of wants to charge through, trample, and then rinse and repeat, right? So his committal to the wave is relatively low. We'll have to see how that plays out because I don't think I've seen this mid matchup quite a lot.
Yeah, it's not one that's as common as you'd think. But I do like the Primal. While he doesn't want to trade with Enchant Totem, if a good Fissure placement comes out, he's able to just kind of sail across the top of that. You get a deep ward to scout out these rotations from the Willow, from the Oracle, and I feel like you can play the mid lane relatively safely at that point.
Yeah, I think Babatich will definitely be put to the test here on this Primal Beast. A couple of unfavorable circumstances going up against him. Now to see whether he's still able to do the work that he was doing just yesterday. Now, Astronaut Esports, I am inclined to believe this Bristleback will be an off lane, which means that we should be waiting on a position 1 pick to round out the draft. Sporkface Killaz, it feels like they're missing a offlaner at the moment, even though this Primal Beast can kind of be flexed. It seems like Astronaut believe that an offlane pick is in order as well. They ban out the Axe.
Yeah. Beautiful hero. Plays kind of well into the Bristle, Berserker's Call just lets you reposition, get the Bristle facing you, that way you're not proccing the quills.
Yeah.
Really strong offlane candidate for that Sporkface Killer lineup, and a great band coming out from the Astro boys.
Okay, so Ursa and Lifestealer banned out. I mean, definitely a certain subclass of hero that have a press one button to basically be invulnerable in the fight, right? And when you pair that up alongside the Oracle, suddenly that duration extends by a country mile. I wonder what this is trying to protect here. Might just be a specific offlaner that they're worried about going up into heroes like that they're looking to pick. And there aren't any that come to mind at the moment, but the LC is the final ban. So I have a feeling that Astronaut Esports, they're going to pick a very... I don't think so. I think it's going to be a very high damage, high single target damage, kind of squishy physical damage, maybe ranged carry or something like that. I'm not entirely sure, but that's kind of why you would try and take out these Blade Mail Initiator single target killers, right? I mean, it pairs up very well with the AA and as well. The Sunstrike can come through.
Is a Luna?
It's gonna be the Sven.
Yeah. Well, right. Yeah, you get that burst. Get an early blink, get your Silver Edge going, get onto the back line, take out the Ancient Apparition, and then go for the Spectre. I like it.
Okay.
I'm a little bit worried about all of the melee cores present on Astronaut. You're going to cross paths, and it's going to make for a very, 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 very convenient game for Henry. Yeah, he landed some really great tornadoes last game.
For sure.
And that's just going to be even easier to set it up for him this game.
Yeah, especially in the early stages of the game, you're going to see at a certain point Astronaut Esports calls, they're going to have to learn how to work with no mana because you know that EMP is going to tag all of them. But I really like this Sven last pick. I think it pairs up well with the Oracle, gives them a lot of aggressive potential, natural Silver Edge builder like you mentioned. Break goes really well on the Spectre and the Primal Beast. And it's a hero that can layer these initiations, right? So you see the Earthshaker Fissure come out, the Dark Willow can follow up, and that's going to give, with the Bristleback frontlining, that's going to give Sven the perfect vantage point to choose who he wants to go on. A good carry matchup against the Spectre as well throughout the game.
Something not to be overlooked, the Bristleback. In the current meta of the build, you don't really get a lot of armor until like your 4th item. Warcry coming out from the Sven, very valuable.
That's true.
God,
wow.
Mr. Waterpark has arrived.
I can't believe he dodged the entire banning phase. Fate, he's gonna get his hands on this offlane Kanka. Going up against the Sven. And it makes a lot of sense. That's why they banned the Ursa as well as the Lifestealer, because those two laners would just completely ruin your day if you pick Kanka offlane. I just had this experience just now, where it was a Lifestealer against a Kanka, and there's literally nothing my friend could do. He was playing the Kanka, and I'm just like looking at him, and he's looking at me, and we're looking at the Lifestealer, and the Lifestealer just has the freest game of his entire career. So the bans make a lot more sense. Yeah, everyone's looking at each other. We're looking at the draft right now, though, and I really like what Sporkface Killaz have. They once again have a lot of different components that play interlinked with each other. They can set each other up, just kind of come in from different sides of the map and get these early pickoffs. Astronaut Esports, they're really going to have to hold the line in the early laning stage and not fall too far behind, give their Sven space to farm, and hit this timing.
Yeah, and we were talking about the value of these early game stacks for astronauts coming out, but now you have two cores. Kind of looking at those stacks, and I wonder, is it going to be enough farm present on the map?
Yeah, we'll find out in this game number 2. Once again, in case you weren't aware, we're one game away from the grand finals. It's a little bit further away from us because we're starting this match a bit earlier in lieu of ESL KL qualifiers here, but still, we're one game away from the grand finals here for Sporkface Killaz. They could go up against Yodi, Brody, Nexus, who have had a dominant showing. Similar things can be said about Sporkface in that game number 1, though. Astronaut Esports fire back and force a game 3. We'll have to wait and see. There's some kind words being exchanged by the competitors here. Love to see it. The good old NA positive mental attitude.
Yeah, you got to build goodwill in the league,
For sure. For sure. You're going to be with each other for a little bit. You got to see their face weekend to weekend, you got at least make it a nice sight.
Absolutely, and 5-person smoke coming out here bottom. It's going to get broken by the Ancient Apparition. Chola up on the high ground. Are they going to get a spot out here? Old White probably does not want to take the fissure early on, playing it in the mid lane. You need that enchant totem to trade.
Okay,
But
somebody needs to check Chola's PC. This is the second time he has done this. He's put himself in the exact position to break the smoke of Astronaut. Either this guy is a mad lad research individual who just has... I mean, look, he has a book open. He's reading them so well.
He's got their playbook right in front of him.
Yeah, he has somebody transcribed the entire Astronaut Esports playbook, and they're like, you know what? Here you go. And he's just... twice now. That's ridiculous. I mean, they would have loved to get off to a good early start on any one of their laners here to exert some sort of advantage, but will be denied. Seems like it's gonna be just a 2-for-2 trade out again. I say that. Oh. Am I blind? It's a 3-for-1. Okay, so favor to Astronaut Esports here.
Yeah, and Astro getting that D ward in the mid lane early on Roseanne too. Now, Sneeze, interesting little tidbit there. You mentioned a book, Ancient Apparition. Yeah. Who do you think is the least literate hero in Dota 2?
Damn!
Who could not read?
Okay, who could not read? I mean, there's some pretty obvious answers, right? I don't think Primal B is gonna be able to understand the human language. I'm sure Marcy can read, even though she can't speak.
Sure, sure.
I kind of feel like even though Treant Protector can speak, I think it's like just ethically wrong for him to be able to read, because what do you read from? Books that are made of your dead friends. You know what I mean? That's just rough. So I think those are my selection. Did you have someone in mind? The way you said it made it sound like you had someone.
I think Bristleback is going to be hard pressed for that.
Yeah, but he also frequents bars, right? So he at least has to know how to read a receipt.
Yeah. Sure. Well, maybe he just gets all his drinks for free.
Yeah, I mean, when you got fists like that and quills like that, people are inclined to just give you exactly what you want. And we'll see whether he's able to milk what he can from the lane here up against the Spectre AA. It's definitely a lane that can get a little tricky with the slows, but should it be anything that the Bristleback can't just walk off?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a different story this game. Not really suffering from the old tree protector, thankfully. The area denial. I'm surprised that we haven't seen Ice Vortex skilled up yet on Chola's Ancient Apparition.
Yeah, I mean, I think the early value point in Ice Vortex isn't that good compared to some of his other spells. AA, he's already a bit of a awkward laner to make work, right? You're really relying on one additional disable from your counterpart to try and land those cold feet. And they are just throwing the spells out. Roseanne, pulling no punches there, just trying to pressure out Dragon Sin and create space for Mr. Achy Bones. I mean, with this Bristleback, it's always the same story, right? You want to hit the Ring of Health breakpoint, and that's where you feel very safe, and he already has it flying. So he should be relatively unscathed here in the spot side.
Oh yeah, then it's mid lane, Old White, just suffering. Sabotage getting that early bottle, really out-regenning Old White. Doesn't really challenge him for that bottom water rune, though. Kind of interesting, choosing to get all the farm instead.
Yeah, we'll have to see whether the matchup that we were referring to comes into play here, because it seems like this Earthshaker was kind of selected as a response to the Primal Beast. Doesn't really look like it's working out at the moment. I mean, Babbage doubling Old White CS. I mean, you even had the lane advantage with that early ward being denied. You know, you technically had this pick into the Primal Beast. This was the matchup that you wanted. This was
Then he
not
gets
looking
the
too
bounty
hard.
rune, and he's walking top.
He's
know,
looking
this
at the Ram here, looking for a setup. Muzi and
Primal
Ram
Beast
cowering under their tower here, but it's a little bit too far to reach. I remember the terror days of Primal Beast when he first got released. I'd just be
Pre-nerf.
it'd be level 3 here, just come through from absolutely nowhere and gank me. It was so unfun.
Yeah, and Babbage places that observer ward right in vision of Old Whites. You gotta wonder if that's gonna be a source of easy experience and gold for him coming out soon.
Yeah, I mean, relatively quiet early game comparatively to the last game where we literally had non-stop action. We couldn't even stop to break down whatever's going on. And maybe now, with the luxury of time afforded to us, we can, you know, maybe hypothesize how we see this game going. Malibu, maybe you can tell me what you think timings are for each of these teams and what they're exactly playing for here.
Okay, so let's see. Astronauts
Putting you on the
off
spot
lane.
a little bit here, sorry.
Yeah. No. I've been thinking about this. We're good. Astronauts, you're playing for that Vanguard mana boot combo on Achy Bones. You're just going to be able to sustain and will to your heart's content. That's when you're really going to start cutting this bottom lane, dragging it to a hard or a medium camp, and just spiking your net worth accrual. I would not be surprised to see Roseanne start making mega stacks around minutes 5 into minute 6, and then picking up that Wisdom Rune. So I think around 10 minutes, we're going to see this Bristle kind of get its first big power spike after claiming those stacks and having those items.
It's almost like you reminded Roseanne, he's just strolling straight up to make those stacks right now.
You know, Roseanne reminded me. I was fortunate enough to play one match with them in our Combine, and speaking of fortune, Henry landing the Sunstrike mid onto the Earthshaker.
I mean, another situation where Babbage bests his lane counterpart here. And, I mean, it's tough because I think Astronaut Esports, you mentioned it perfectly, right? They're probably playing for the stacks because they have two heroes that really benefit from it. But you kind of need to make sure you don't lose your towers. Now, Sporkface don't have the best tower push, so that might be something that's in their favor here this time round. They hold on to those towers, keep the triangles and the stack safe. You know, get the farm up onto Astronaut Esports cores right now. Muzi,
Tornado lands on a Muzi.
Yeah, top of the CS, but his health looking at the bottom of the barrel here. Nice little Fate's Edict to try and put a stop to the magic damage coming out, but it's not going to matter. He still goes down. They will trade Henry for it. But I'm sure Henry is just fine with that. Yeah, he's tipping Muzi. He's feeling good about that situation.
Speaking of stacks, Roseanne content to stack that hard camp up to a triple now. And, you know, Muzi, he's still 2 levels away from God's Strength. I don't know if they're going to be able to take that in a timely manner.
Yeah, the thing is, there is a nice observer ward placed by this AA as well. Whenever they do choose to go for it, it's going to be very scary because they can set up with the Shadow Step, with the Primal Beast engaging. Speaking of engage, he's coming through in the bot side. Dragon Sin goes down to the combo of the Bristleback and Roseanne here to get the response onto him, but similar situation. You're losing your position 1, both pos 1s in this game, not really having the best of times despite getting good CS.
You know, but Old White running top, spotted out by that observer. He's gonna try to help his own pos 1. Seems like Fade knows.
Yeah, I don't know whether he was spotted out because Old White, he's still keeping his distance, still looking for an angle here, potentially a block off onto Fade. I don't think he's been spotted.
Is just toying with them.
Yikes, Old White waited a little bit too long, and Fade's gonna be laughing at that one. 7 minutes. They get both Wisdom Runes on each side. Position 4s will be the one to claim that up.
Wow, that's yep, par for the course there. Muzi happy to clear up the stack, getting a little bit of space, but that X is gonna bring him right back into the torrent.
Is it gonna be enough damage though? They'll try for it. Rem with the Dispel, the Sunstrike as well, lands perfectly. Midfielder Henry has just been setting these up left, right, and center.
You know, usually midfielders don't score all your goals, but Henry's been a key part.
Yeah,
all
landing
these
all the
plays so
shots
far.
in this early game, and even last game, right? Making that pause for Invoker look great. And he's not even going for the Quas Wex typical build, right? He's gone for a bit more of an Exalt focus, but it's really worked out for his playstyle.
Yeah, you know, the control that your cores provide just really make all these spells extra value. And we're seeing
they
a
come.
ton of spells being used here.
In the mid lane, straight onto Alt White. Beautiful setup there again from Sporkface. The execution off the charts here as they slam the Earthshaker back into the ground where he belongs. Rosette, I don't know if you're safe standing around here. I have a level in the Shadow Realm, but the trample with the double damage and the onslaught coming through. Just make quick work of that Dark Willow. We talked about the Shadow Realm trying to basically being a bit of an issue for Babbitich. Doesn't look like an issue in the slightest with the way he played that one.
Yeah, you know, Sporkface being sure to draft enough damage that can be placed through Shadow Realm, just ground targeted AoE, just tried and true. They're able to kill Roseanne through it.
Now, the one sort of saving grace for them here, in my opinion, is Mr. Achy Bones, right? He's been relatively untouched in this bot side, able to ramp up. Sure, he might take a little bit longer, but this is what you mentioned. The Arcane Boots Vanguard. It's only going to be a matter of time before he just kind of rotates back into the triangle, builds up all those stacks, gets himself close to his first item, whether it's a Bloodstone or the Axe or any other defensive item. We'll have to see.
Yeah, I might even, I don't know if Soul Ring is a good pickup here. Get a little extra value out of that Ring of Protection that you've already built. You want to keep the armor. Gives you access to a little more mana. That way you never have to rely on your allies or go back to base. And he's going to take that first stack.
Yeah.
I love it. You know, I think stacks made, probably one of the highest stats on my profile. I'd have to go back and check it out for sure, but Babbitich invading this stack camp.
Yeah, this is exactly what the setup was for Chola. With that hits up ward, this is exactly what they were waiting for. And they punished that Bristleback. Mr. Achy Bones went from being the slight glimmer of hope to being a dimming light here. It's a bit rough here across the board. I'm seeing a similar thing play out. Look at Fate's net worth. How has he found himself at the top of the charts again? They'll try and silence him and put him down. Has the bolt coming through with the run buff, he will be able to resist quite a bit of damage, but the Curse Crown on top of his head will keep him in place. He still has the healing now coming out from the Purifying Flames. It's not what you wanted on the side of Rem. They'll try and stun him up and keep him locked in to this jungle area, and the Rum starting to tick out right now. The second stun coming through, and they will finish off the Kunkka. They needed that for sure. 4 members rotate up here to get the job done. Their
Fissure
first high impact kill. Yeah, Old White.
Out from Old White.
Makes it happen there. Ever closer to the Blink Dagger. 200 gold off that one if he wants to just rush it.
Yeah, I think we'll see that Blink Dagger coming out here shortly. But you know, in Dota you play against your enemies by drafting well, by itemizing well, and just putting vision where you predict they're gonna play. You see the Bristle, you see the Spin, you know these stacks are gonna come out. If they're going to snowball appropriately, they need to be able to take this farm. And honestly, Sporkface, read that Bristle like a book. Get that Observer Ward, are able to invade and just create a lot of advantage for themselves. Speaking of advantages, Dragon Sin, trying to juke in the trees down here in the bottom lane with the Spectral Dagger. Dodges 4 Dire heroes.
Yeah,
No
that's the
punishment coming
benefit. That's the benefit of the Spectre, right? The Fissure is never going to do anything. He's still going to be able to slide through that. You can't really catch him off unless you burst him 100 to 0. And they weren't really able to connect. They will claim the tier 1 tower in the bot side though. Felt like a long time coming. And the smoke move continues. They want to keep this aggression up, especially since they have the Echo Slam available.
My god, speaking of aggression, look at these Radiant heroes.
Yeah, they are absolutely crazy. Echo Slam, they get Dragon Sin this time around. So juke them once, shame on them.
Muzi.
Not letting it happen again, Muzi. Pops that rate. Oh,
yay.
Just when you think your team's got a little bit of advantage on the bot side, killing off the Spectre carry, you lose your life as well, essentially making it even, especially when you pop the God Strength. So many stacks and timings now missed out. Henry gonna get set up on in the mid lane. Nice tornado stop Old White for now, but Babbitich has a target in his mind and it's gonna be straight onto the Oracle. They are
Henry's just
okay
taking all of
losing
this.
Henry, but Henry is fine. How has he survived through all of this? The deafening blast, and he's gonna no. And wave goodbye. Good night. The tip again. On to
Bye-bye.
Muzi. There's some targeted hate right there. Pulverize coming. Pulverize. I keep saying Pulverize, but really, with the way Babitage is playing, it's feeling like that. 12-4 right now at the 12-minute mark. And this lineup, it's absolutely schooling Astronauts right now.
You know, you got to read that situation a little bit better on your Sven. If that Spectre dies across the map unprotected and there's no response happening, they're cooking something up against you. You know, you gotta think ahead that extra step and read into that. Maybe start to mirror your own, like reflect the team's movement. Like start to play on the same side of the map as them after you get a really good kill. I think Muzi had a TP at that point. But,
Look, I gotta be honest here, Malibu. Take a look at the wards on the map. Honestly speaking, Astronauts, they have really nice deep wards planted. I mean, same can be said for Sporkface, but the difference is, it feels like Sporkface have the lineup to capitalize on this deep vision. They have these skirmishing lineups. They can make things happen all across the map. This was what was missing from Astronauts' lineup in game number 1. They had a few clunky laners, you know, Tidehunter not really the most active. Same situation can be said. Sort of for the Death Prophet. I don't see the roaming Death Squad from Astronaut. I don't see who's gonna make moves and punish the spec who's farming. I mean, sure, you need to bring 4 people, 5 people to a tier 2 to make it happen, but Old White and company, they can't exactly rotate and get pickoffs the same way that Sporkface can. Speaking of pickoffs, Babitage looking for an angle, sees Old White in his sights here.
oh, he's got a haste rune bottled also. This is a dire situation for Old White.
And Old White
gets
doesn't
trampled.
stand a chance. Damn, that doesn't even look like a mid-earth shaker the way he melted there.
Yeah, 1400 health. Looked more like 4, honestly.
Yeah.
Just that damage from the haste rune and trample paired together is so strong. Had the blade mail ready to contest any echo slam or totem. Roseanne soon to
Come
follow
on.
after. Beautiful ice blast coming out from Chola.
Dude, it just looks so easy. It looks like whoever set this... I mean, you're a teacher. You'll get this. It looks like whoever set this test up for Sporkface just didn't understand how far in they were. They're getting completely smashed right now. 6k gold lead at the 15-minute mark. It's nothing too crazy, but look, every
and their
single
smoke
move
is
that you...
this-
Every single move that you make is just red. Who gave Sporkface Astronaut's entire game plan? They're getting routed at every turn right here. Net worth not looking good, and you're talking about a Sven who has the natural farming capability through the Great Cleave. It's not happening. Bristleback, he's the only one keeping up, but they've funneled so many stacks into this man, but he hasn't done anything for them so far.
Muzi TPing. Where are you TPing to? You want to get this fight? You want to go on the Spectre? But they're just going to haunt away and go on to the... Oh my god, Mr. Achy Bones. He feels that one.
Yeah, definitely feels that one deep in there. Spirit Vessel complete for Henry means that these tanky... I don't even know whether you can call them tanky at this point, but allegedly, accusedly tanky heroes don't stand a chance.
Yeah, and you know...
Onslaught being wound up, and Roseanne just gets melted. Roseanne... Wait, okay, look. Let's be real here for a minute. We're casting this game, right? It's a 7k gold lead. What is the situation? Like, it has to be a godlike Echo Slam into Sven Cleave onto like 5 people. Like maybe Sporkface all accidentally disconnect and their mouses stop working or something, and they all stand still and
The
die.
hamsters
to
in
that
their
combo.
PCs
Right.
die.
Yeah. Right. That's the only angle.
I think you're playing for Blink Echo into a Blink Sven. So you're... Oh, and as I say that, Sven... Muzi changes up his auto... or his quick buy from a Blink Dagger to BKB. Kind of feels bad, but
I don't
think
blame
he might
him.
he might be predicting the timing of the Kunkka Water Park, and they give up the stack that they had in the graveyard down on their Ancients also. That's just yeah, Astronauts are on the ropes here. 17 minutes in, and it feels bad. Henry spotting out Roseanne with a tornado into the Ice Blast pairing. Both spells gonna land. Roseanne crumbles.
It serves up a first course meal, and it's really just hero after hero that come out in dish after dish. Sporkface, they got the utensils. They're ready to eat right now.
Waiter, waiter, there's a bramble in my soup. It's
Yeah.
awful,
Yeah.
but I'll take it.
Yeah. You get what you eat what you need to get big and strong for the Yodi Brody Nexus Grand Final. You know what I mean?
Very true. It'll be interesting to see if the difference in timing. Like Yodi Brody, they won their game yesterday. They've had a day to kind of rest up, think about what they want to play.
They're gonna have
X
a couple
marks
of
the spot.
hours to strategize as well. I mean, you know, Malibu, it's rough because the way we're talking about it makes it sound like it's over. It really, it kind of feels that way. I want to hold out hope for a crazy Echo Slam Sven comeback, but the fact that the Sven has to get a BKB just to kind of stay in the game and potentially do anything at all, it just bodes so poorly. You have 3 members on the side of Astronaut
Oh.
right now. They're gonna get spotted up. They know the Invoker is around the area. Old White, he's just getting messed around with by... Henry doesn't even care. He's walking into 3 members as the pause 4. Are you kidding me? They kill Mr. Achy Bones on one side. They're chasing Muzi down on the other. He Blink. They're looking for the Shadow Dark Willow right now.
Oh,
and the
no,
waves
the
will
tidal
catch
wave.
him. You throw out the Terrorize, but really, you're the one who's crying out of fear. You can't go anywhere. The Primal Beast is on your back. And all these alleged counter picks, all these alleged combos, where are they, Malibu? I don't see them.
You know, I think in this current meta, global plus beef is very, very strong. You know, we saw the emergence of just the pure beef strats coming out, and now that we're starting to pair them with the ability to strike across the map, it's really becoming fine-tuned. And Old White getting tuned up himself.
Look, I've been the play-by-play for this entire game and series so far, but with the way that they are absolutely crumbled, you could take. I'm losing heart. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you, Malibu. This is absolutely awful. I was under the impression that Astronaut Esports they kind of found their footing, but it seems like even it's not really the players' fault, right? But it's just felt a little more than a little bit disconnected with this lineup. They haven't really been able to land the hits that they were just yesterday. I mean, these
Yeah,
picks,
Icky
like
Bones,
Mr.
it feels like he's been on the back foot, kind of farming with this Aghanim Scepter. I'd really like to see them taking the fight to the Radiant team.
Yeah.
Trying to catch them off of the Shadow Step cooldown, but it's already back up. 50 seconds at this point, and they're able to get back on the map. I like the Astronaut smoke here, but they're just this fishing trip is coming up fruitless for them.
It kind of feels like they're scrambling around in the dark a little bit, looking for whatever they can find, right? The hands are out. They're trying to find and just grab onto anything, any sort of hope. But they don't really know where they're going right now. Henry's going to try and
Blink
set up.
gonna dodge the X.
Yeah. Old White at least gonna get out with his life there. The entire rest of the side of Sporkface Killaz were converging. But yeah, back to the point I was making, it feels like both games, they don't really have a very clear game plan about what they want to do. I mean, I look at the draft, I know what the heroes do, right? But that's kind of where it ends. I've yet to see Astronaut Esports come up with a cohesive plan as to what they're gonna do in counter to what Sporkface are. In game number 1, it was all about the tower push. Sure, you followed your own little directive, but when they brought the heat straight to your front door, you didn't have the facilities to deal with it. It's a similar situation now where throughout the entire game, I mean, and even the draft, it was very obvious to us what Sporkface Killaz was setting up. And now this might be the opening that they're looking for. They have 3 heroes surrounding this Spectre right now. Dragon Sin under a little bit of threat, but Chola is just there and turns around to Old White, forcing out that false promise. And they're on to that Ram's Oracle. Like you said, Babatich just smashing him. I mean, the Oracle out is actually going to keep him alive, but they lose both supports as a response in what was supposed to be a pick-off on the Spectre.
Oh no, Henry, you're madman. Oh, just narrowly misses.
That
mere
little
pixel away from
gust
Muzi.
tickles the Sven's butthole right there, okay? Like that was so close. I don't even know whether they'll be able to fall, but that has to be the most uncomfortable gust of wind ever.
A cold wind blows, you know, and Muzi smiles.
So true.
But Icky Bones getting the shard for his ally, Roseanne. Gives a little extra bramble on that Cursed Crown. Maybe it'll be enough of the control to lock down one target. We'll see.
Yeah. 10k gold lead. Not completely out of the woods just yet, but Pop-Tart, okay, I don't even know if we have time. Icky Bones is just deceased. They might try and get a kill to Chola, but the Earthshaker's blocked off his own Sven. Pop-Tart, could you do me a favor? Let's take a look at that. Probably. I can't imagine it's looking good.
Oh dear.
3%. That's that's around the actual real life chance that I have of going into space here.
And it's Fade's gonna send Muzi up into space with that torrent, and now once again with the torrent storm.
You see why he wants to get the BKB? I mean, you imagine any other fight, torrent storm, and every other. That's just one hero. We're not even talking about all the other controllers that come out. He is unable to get anything done. Now Henry, he's poking his head around, looking at Roseanne. I mean, he's just gonna die in the Radiance burn. This is end of the road for sure. Dragon Sin. I mean, his career dies with a Yasha on it. Okay. Any errors?
97% copium dosage there. I like it.
Okay. Look, we got quite a decent amount of people watching here. So at this point in time, if you believe in the 3%, type astronauts to the moon in chat. They need all your energy right now. This shit is rough. I don't. I mean, all the Muzi fans real quiet now. They will double. I feel I've said that so many times, but Fade, he's so tanky.
How to use your BKB
blast 3 now. He's not using the BKB. He's finally gonna come through, but the run buff already coming up from Fade. He's just tanking up against this Sven. They finally come down, but all force the buyback from the Oracle. What can they find? Spectre in a little bit of an awkward position now. Move under trouble, under trample, under the Oracle's false promise. He's gonna try and get himself out of this situation, and Achy Bones finally putting in the work. This is the opening that they were waiting for, and the Bristleback puts in the damage. Now Babatich caught out in the midst of 4 heroes. Can he get out of this situation? But he's up against the Bristleback, who can muscle him down over time. No more mana, a full one charge is all he has to work with. He's trying to buy a little bit of space, and no one's in the horizon to help him. He gets smashed down to the core, and Achy Bones. I mean, if you guys typed in the chat, you absolutely did it here. Achy Bones has brought the damage. Look at the damage dealt. Oh my goodness.
8k damage in that fight.
It only took 24 minutes for him to come online here, but now the Bristleback is definitely a threat. They don't really have any natural way of breaking him as well. Now Muzi will try to come through in this mid lane. Setup is there from Fade, and he gets straight back to business. Rem gonna go down, and now Muzi. Only any momentary hope.
Oh my god.
Muzi just goes down.
You clawed your way back in the game. What are you doing? Why?
Yeah, I mean, that engagement, all things considered, was pretty good for Muzi, right? Even though he pops the BKB a little bit late, he gets the kill into Fade, which is a nice injection of gold into his pocket. That is the highest net worth hero in the game right now, but... Oh, it just still feels...
Builds the Echo Saber back, too. Maybe gonna go for the Harpoon early.
Setting up onto Roseanne now. Should have the Sunstrike available. Henry, on the money, times it perfectly in lieu of the Yules as well. It's not gonna be enough. Roseanne finally lives for once. I feel like I haven't said that throughout the entire match so far.
That's a new phrase, yeah. Pulling that one into the vocabulary for the first time in this 25-minute match.
Yeah, add to
BKB
dictionary.
picked up. Recognize this phrase, please.
Yes, please.
Achy Bones gets the BKB. Maybe a little bit of a silver lining. Muzi gets the Chrysalis. Really the only break present on this Sporkface Killaz team is going to be the Aghanim Scepter built up next. 3 components away on Babbage. Gives you a little bit of a tool to deal with the Bristle, but you kind of gotta expect Bristle to go for the Bloodstone next. And if you don't have the Ice Blast on him, he's gonna heal up.
So the thing is, Invoker has a Spirit Vessel. So in theory, it should be enough to work him down. They have the BKB that's gonna shrug that off, but oh my, yeah, oh my, he's just gonna get finished off here. Now Muzi, he's looking for an entry in the fight, wants to take down the Kunkka, forcing the BKB
Massive
and a huge Echo Slam. Why? It's gonna be enough. They Spectre to start things off, and that is a good first kill to get. Now Fade forced to run away through his own Torrent Storm, but Mr. Achy Bones making their bones ache this time round. The Deafening Blast not going to do anything against the debuff immunity, and the side of Astronaut, they are turning on right now. When all hope looked lost, Old White delivers, still looking for more. It's that Aghanim Scepter coming into play, and Chola trying to hold him back. But it's not about the blink. I mean, he's shot onto the Pulver. He just gets trampled down a bit too big for his britches there. I feel miserable. That's the voice line for sure. But He's gonna die, but he does it for the squad for sure. Catches Dragon Sin completely off guard. And again, Astronaut, they found themselves in a good spot. Oh, Chola. Chola, no way. Oh, I thought he was gonna get the snipe with the Roseanne. Wise to it though, the Dark Willow flutters away on the wings, but they are starting to do it here. Malibu, they are finding the angles. The superior control, I mean, the thing about the Astronaut esports draft is that it doesn't really come together in terms of the early stage skirmishing and whatnot. But team fight, look, they've got team fight with the Echo Slam. And if they can land more Echo Slams like that, where they force the entirety of Sporkface to come through at the same target, yeah, it's gonna be rough.
The early game skirmishing is a little bit clunky with all the melee heroes before you have the tools to navigate, like the Blink Daggers, the Aghanim Scepter on the Earthshaker. But you know, they've kind of gotten past that point. They survived, haven't lost any tier 2 towers yet. The game is still in a very salvageable state, as indicated by the 10% win probability that Astronauts now have. Bloodstone picked up on Bristle too.
Like, with that being said, Sporkface, it's not really out of their hands just yet, right? They can still make it happen. Now, Achy Bones has transcended to the top of the net worth. But if they still continue to take these team fights that they have so far, don't get instantly burst out, they could do it. But already the setup on the sidelines, yeah. Chola might be in some trouble. Roseanne actually survives for now. Nice hit eating, saving him. And now onto the backside. Dragon Sin, have they found him again? They catch out the Spectre with Moody. And suddenly, this little Roche pit is no longer Sporkface's territory. Inch by inch, Astronauts, they're muscling this game back. And Ice Blast coming through Muzi. He should be just fine here with the back out of the Oracle Rem. Coming into play here has been very clutch with these false promises and little Fate's edicts as well.
Henry waiting patiently in the tree line.
In the tree line, they still are gonna go though. Here comes Babitage trying to get the touch on the Muzi. Nice bit of magic damage coming through and the control from the Pulverize, but the false promise straight onto this Fen already. Without a God Strength, he's not feeling quite as strong. Achy Bones, a million jobs to do here in this fight. Prompts the BKB starting to get to work onto Fate. Skunka is tanky, but not gonna be now finished off by the Bristleback. Old White, no more mana, gonna get trampled down by this Primal Beast. Roseanne's back into the fray though. Has the little Bedlam coming through onto Mr. Achy Bones. He is continuing to do the damage, and I don't think you can deal with this Bristleback at this point in time. Stunned up from Old White. Still no way to break up Babitage. The Terrorize sending him running. Mr. Achy Bones coming through the fissure.
In the fight.
Yeah, finally respawns. It's still early stage in the game, and the fight keeps on going. Rolls up, Babitage. He is so tanky with this heart. I don't think you can muscle this Primal Beast down. Mr. Achy Bones starting to get pulverized up right now. Now Muzi back into the fight with the God Strength. Chops down that little AA. But he's not going to be quite as lucky. The late mail gonna reflect that damage, and Dragon Sin actually gonna do in Muzi with the damage. Now Achy Bones, he still survived this entire fight with Rem's backup. He's trying his best to make it work. Dragon Sin might go down a second time, but a beautiful tornado again. Midfielder lands it perfectly onto Mr. Achy Bones. He is just absolutely dancing on them in this Invoker, and the pulverized Babitage, he's seen it all at this point in time. It's been a fight that's lasted 3 whole minutes, it feels like. The Invoker and the Primal Beast, they hold it down. Yeah, they're still on. It's not over just yet. They're trying to put a nail in the Astronaut coffin right now. Send them into deep sleep. Onslaught, still with the chase. I mean, oh, why? He's jumping in, but I don't think that's quite a wise decision, my friend. They'll look for him. EMP pulls him back. Not what you wanted. And Old White turns around for the fissure. Might have to turn around and acknowledge his death here. Slightly mistiming. Yeah, slightly mistiming that, but
not the Ice Blast.
Yeah, Ice Blast off the mark. Old White's gonna be able to dodge it on his little corner of the base here. Chola slightly misaiming that, but still dominance reasserted by the side of Sporkface Killaz.
Almost war crime level of diving coming out from Sporkface here in the tier 4s, dude. Absolute insanity. You know, Radiant happy to now go back and claim Roshan as all the dire heroes are respawning.
Now, I don't know if you see what I see, but Echo Slam is available. And Sporkface, they don't really do this Roche so quick. A smoke up and a big team fight. That could be what it takes to bring Astronauts Esports back into this. Now, of course, that
Roche
would be
is
the
falling
case if
down.
Old White didn't just TP out to farm top. So that's not gonna happen. Get the
You
Roche
know,
relatively for free. Dragon Sin is gonna grab that Aegis. And he's been dying the past few fights, so he needs that for sure.
Yeah, I think that I think maybe Old White kind of coaching his team there, saying, hey, you know what? They're in the Roche. We don't really have the tools exactly just yet to deal with it. They still need to come through our tier 2s. They still need to come high ground. I think we're better equipped to handle that fight, even perhaps with the Aegis. Let's get a Silver Edge finish on our Muzi, which they get. They're looking for a level 3. They finally got 18 on Old White, so that level 3 Echo is gonna be another tool for them to deal with.
The shard as well, right, from the Tormentor. Old White now has that ability to soft commit onto these fights and not necessarily send his body in if he wants to get the AoE stun. And definitely plays a big part in terms of keeping himself safe here.
Yeah,
I mean, that fissure range is going to be huge.
Kind of nice. Maybe lets you dance around the water park a little easier too.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of copium.
Yeah,
But,
we're huffing it hard right now, for sure. I don't, especially if this Aghanims now complete for Babbage, I think the break is really going to cause Mr. Achy Bone some trouble. Don't think he has any way of dispelling that on himself, last I checked. Yeah, Bloodstone has the BKB, of course, but, you know, once that's down, it's gonna
You have a
cause-
dispel from the Oracle.
Yeah, I guess, but if you're Oracle, ulting your Bristleback, maybe the fight has gone wrong.
Yeah.
I guess not exactly, right? You kind of need the Bristleback to stay alive, but they've largely done a good job in terms of just ignoring him. He's still been able to get some very high impact kills though. It's a significant slowdown now. Even with their ages, it feels like the side of Sporkface, they don't feel the most confident about breaching this high ground. And true enough, it's a tough affair. We mentioned one of the weaknesses of their draft being that they lack the tower push, and especially up against such a scary defense with so many stuns. It's a bit of a daunting task to go into. You'd love to get 1 or 2 pickoffs before even giving that an attempt.
Yeah, Sporkface definitely not a team that can siege these towers without taking a fight, or at least going all in, getting 2 kills around the tower, and then kind of redoubling their efforts at the building. Alacrity onto the Spectre helps you out, but you definitely got to get a couple kills first to peel off of that Spec.
So what do you think they're waiting for here? Because they have Skadi on the spec, they have Aegis for another 2 minutes. I mean, sure, it looks like you're queuing up the shard on Dragon Sin, but like we said, Muzi has that Silver Edge, so got to be able to break all those passives all in one shot.
Yeah, you know, I think they're just waiting for what's happening right here on the map, trying to get a pick off here in this bottom lane, but Old White snuffing it out and hopping away over to the tree line, TP out, just dodging. Sporkface just know that they kind of have this one almost in the bag in terms of net worth, win probability. And I think really right now they're just playing not to throw.
Yeah, it's a little bit awkward because they had it in the bag. It's kind of like when you bag up a dangerous snake, right? And you're hunting this dangerous snake. You know, you see it in the little ecology book and you're like, man, that looks a little monstrous. Wonder what we're going to do against them. Suddenly you pick up the snake. Doesn't look quite as scary. You're like, oh, this is easy. You put it in the bag.
And then it bites you.
You know, no, it doesn't bite you. It doesn't bite you, right? You think, you know, you got the dog's great. Fast, love this pickup. You put it in the bag, you go for a little cup of tea, you come back, suddenly the bag's empty. And you're in a room full of furniture. Suddenly you don't know where it's going to come from. Now, hunt straight onto an illusion. Excellent kill here from Dragon Sin.
Very value. Use of the Shadow Step and the Tidal Wave pulling Achy Bones back onto the low ground. Gonna make enough space for Babbage to hop in and pulverize Rim.
Babbage, no fear whatsoever, coming through and the Torrent Storm lifting them up. They force the Oracle Force Promise onto him, but they don't feel comfortable enough to commit onto Babbage. It's a lot of control.
The massive Tidal Wave!
Still pull Achy Bones, forcing the out now. And this would be a good time to retreat on Babbage. He's still feeling comfortable enough that he's just standing in front and using that uproar to his advantage. They lift up Old White now. They send the Earthshaker into their team, but they'll be able to blink out. Once again, a beautiful Fate's Edict from this Oracle. You can't blame Rem. Rem's been doing a really good job, but they've got onto Muzi here, starting to pulverize, lifting him out of the Torrent. It's a lot of disable, and they don't have the promise. But Muzi starting to turn around and punch. Doesn't Pack speed for it. Sidelines breaking up onto this Bristleback.
Bristle.
Doesn't have his damage reduction, and he'll be reduced to a pulp there by Babatich, waving him goodnight as they're walking towards the tier 3s. They smell the grand finals in front of them. Buyback
Aegis
is
claimed.
forced. They'll back up. Aegis reclaimed, like you mentioned. They'll signal the retreat. Even with their advantage in that fight, they don't feel the most comfortable about continuing this aggressive maneuver, especially with the Bristleback back in the picture.
Yeah, you know, you get a buyback on the Bristle, but you get 0 tower damage. Sorry. 55 tower damage on
Yikes.
tier 3.
Damn, who, I want to know who hit that tower.
Oh no, and the global presence coming out onto Muzi here.
Yikes, that is the
No
classic.
buyback.
The fake back, you walk up into the triangle that you think is safe, but hello, your supports haven't cleared out that vision yet. They pick you up and put you down. It's as simple
Fighting
as
right
that.
under that Radiant Observer.
Mm-hmm.
Super vanilla spot too. Unpredicted. by
Yeah, it wasn't
Muzi.
even anything crazy, right? It's literally just like the standard cliff ward that's gonna spot you.
No, Astronauts really need a bounty rune pickup here. Get that buyback from Moose. He's only 148 gold short.
Doesn't
But
seem like any of them are in position on the map to do so, but on the
Old
absolute
White.
right side, old white. What are we calling? Was this what we scared about?
oh, I thought that he was gonna be in position to grab that bounty rune in the Radiant jungle. There are two.
Okay, see the way you said that made it sound like Old White was about to die, similar to how Roseanne is seized on my screen right now. Say that. Shadow Realm pulled back by the X marks right now. Babatich
Living.
in some trouble. They actually break him up and he goes down.
Gem on the ground.
That's the Silver Edge coming out from Old White, coming into play. Roseanne locked up by the Tornado. AA Blast should finish him off there. Doesn't stand a chance. Now BKB pop for Achy Bones, but blocked up by his own Fissure. White own.
You know,
Limit
it's
the chase.
yeah. Sometimes you know your team better than they know themselves, and you say, "No, guys, we're taking this victory. We're not overextending. Stay in the base," and he just fishes the ramp off. All right,
I'm fissuring for your sake, okay?
help me help you.
Yeah, I'm keeping you safe. Don't let me hear a word.
It's for your own good. Trust me. All right, NKB queued up on Muzi. Just a couple gold away from that Demon Edge now. You know, they get that gem on Old White. He's going to be able to hop around, D-ward at will with the Enchant Totem. Gonna maybe spot this one out here. You gotta think to look for it. Yeah, there we go. Nice. Good plays coming out from Astronauts, taking down the Vision game, getting back out on the map.
They should know that the Roche could potentially be respawning in a short bit here. If it's a short spawn, they could just make quick work of it. It's just made its way down to this bot side, or it'll be in its day cycle at least.
Oh, and it's unfortunately going to be a long spawn.
Gonna take them a while.
That would have been great timing for Astronauts to make a play on it. It'll be, I think this is the third. Is this the third Roche or the second one?
I think this is the third Roche.
Aghanim Scepter picked up on one of these heroes could be good. Who would you throw it on here if you got it on Astronauts?
I'm inclined to say Rem. That's because Invis with False Promise, especially now that the gem is out of your hands, could be quite tricky.
Okay. Get the invis too and the base attack time reduction.
Yeah.
You know,
This Sven is gonna chop
Maybe
them up
it's-
like mince meat.
yeah. It's yeah, poor man's alacrity, I guess.
Yeah. MKB complete as well means that this Radiance is no longer going to hamper him from damage. I'm sure it's very frustrating as a Sven to play against when you try and calculate every single auto attack you throw out, but there's the variance there. But like I mentioned, Malibu, we were in a situation 10 minutes ago where we were like, okay, why are they not just calling it? You know, it's obviously curtains. There's no chance, you know, congrats Sporkface on the grand finals against Yodi. The snake is still loose.
It's out of the bag, baby.
It's out of the bag. And Sporkface, they're trying to find it. They can't quite grab their hands on it. Suddenly it's become this terrifying viper as they continue to not have any sight on it. They're thinking, oh, you know, was it really that harmless? What if it's poisonous? What if it comes back and bites me? What if it was feigning weakness here? They find
feigning
Spectre
weakness,
in the
Roseanne.
side. Dragon Sin, beautiful Manta
Oh my.
dodge on that Terrorize. Gonna get him out of that situation. Gonna pop
Roseanne.
the haunt
So
as well.
low.
Oh, Roseanne. Very, very low.
Not the
On that
Sunstrike.
Little Dark Willow and
Henry!
again and again, Henry takes advantage of the superior vision granted to him by both his draft and his support's amazing warding. And the all chat Lamau. That's some mental damage right there, but this is, in fact, the Roche that we talked about. The scan comes through, they know it's coming. It is actually the second Roche. I cannot count. Sorry, everybody.
Surprise,
yeah.
surprise. Neither of us can count.
Yeah, they'll be able to pick up the Aegis before the side of Sporkface can even respond. And they need to get out here because it looks like they're trying to get cut off.
Oh
Here comes
my
Fate
God.
with the setup. It's a Tauron onto
No.
3. Are you kidding me? The Ice Blast of... They managed to get out onto Old White, but the price out still though. That's gonna be the life of the Sven forfeit because the Aegis went over the bones. He's trying to TP out, but they can't
Not the
get him
X.
back.
The X goes
And
with the
they still
BKB.
find him. No, no, no! Achy Bones right back into the fray. This is gonna be the second life soon to follow. Fate, so patient with it, brings the Bristleback back into his doom. They're just laughing at him as they surround him and kill him.
Lamal comes to fruition. That's a near
Astronauts.
team wipe.
They get caught again. In every single one of these moments where it feels like they might have a shot, they just lose that opportunity again. That was the perfect setup from Fate there, allowing Chola to just send a shot straight to the gut. And no buybacks on your Bristleback and your Sven. It's just Old White who has it, but he's still alive. He doesn't have that problem.
Yeah, you know, we saw the astronauts turn to the astrocots there, unfortunately. The Aegis getting spent immediately. Cheese still available on Muzi. They're gonna lose at least one lane of racks.
They're gonna lose more than at least one lane of racks. Roseanne just goes down, and now with Rem being brought back into the fray, both supports have buybacks. They can't tag this up with the Sven, who has a god strength. Maybe that's what they're waiting for, biding their time, waiting for Old White to cut the creep wave, come back for the hugest echo slam of his life. He's been able to land it once this game so far, but other than that, the smoke comes out. The defense is gonna be mounted here.
Little magic left in these bones.
We'll see whether he can land something crazy. Catch them all off guard, but the rock throw straight onto Old White. They have eyes on this Earthshaker. He's gonna be able to jump out, but the Dark Willow not quite as lucky. Trampling down onto the Oracle, he doesn't stand a chance, and Old White chopped up on the back line, has the buyback, but Muzi, he's straight into the boat, straight into the Torrent, a second salvo. The boats just keep on coming, and the captain of the ship is Fate, holds them down straight into the ground, and where can you go? Nowhere near the grand finals, they say. Astronaut Esports, you'll stay grounded just like the Surfshaker, straight back barreled into the fountain. They'll wash you up to size as well. Fate taking them for a little bit of a cold shower as it sets in the realization that this tournament is going to be out of their hands sooner rather than later. The end of the road is nigh. And they'll play it slow, Sporkface. They know that astronauts are on their last legs. They're up against the creeps, up against the odds. What else do you have to offer? It doesn't feel like it's going to be quite as substantial. Fate's Edict stopping that damage coming in, but they pull in the Torrent. The tidal wave grabbing the Bristleback. Now he is healing quite a lot and he's not really threatened at all for now. But Babitage on the back line again, they find the supports. That's what they were looking for. Ice Blast not even needed, and they're just controlling the Bristleback. He can't get anything done. He's just standing there watching his buildings go, his supports go. And X marks Torrent over and over. The Bristleback permanently set in the sky right now as the Mega Creeps are claimed. That is just cruel.
Oh, Babitage just toying with his food at this point. The good fish are going to block off Babitage. Has the onslaught available, but I don't think he even needs to get out. He's just content to grab this Bristleback and pulverize him into the ground.
Echo Slam still available. Old White though can't find it. The X marks, they pull him back. The Echo Slam, it's gonna be left for next game. Maybe in the next tournament, say Sporkface Killaz. They want their spot in the grand finals. It's taken them quite a while. Muzi, he'll be looking for it. There's the X marks reset onto Fate. They don't have vision in this area though. They want to get the Kanka to start things off. He doesn't have anything to help him. Except for the BKB and the power rise up. Straight to the spots. Roseanne doesn't stand a chance and neither does Smooth. Last man standing is Achy Bones, but not for long. GG, well played is called and they made him work for. But as the dust settles, a 49k gold lead Babatich, he's dancing, he's feeling good. And in just about 6 hours, Sporkface Killaz will face off against Yodi Nexus for the grand finals. What a series and what a clean one from Sporkface. It got a little bit messy near the end there. But really, it just kind of felt like Sporkface, they were toying around. They had this in the bag the entire time.
Yeah, Astronauts almost clawed their way back into it, but the Roshan unfortunately turned into more of a bait than an asset for them. Henry's Invoker just really dominating this game. I mean, a strong showing from all 5 Sporkface players, but 14, 4, and 24. He's just all over the map, just involved in everything. The control, the damage that he provided, just so strong.
I kind of feel like you need to ban the Invoker. I'm not gonna lie. This guy, he's just looks so comfortable. Fade as well. The combination plays coming out from these two, they just have perfect setup for the rest of their team. And Dragon Sin, I think he's just had a complete freebie, right? Every single time his team's getting up to something, he gets a free kill as part of it. He's involved in what? 40 of the team's kills just by virtue of Haunt alone? Yeah. But look at Henry. He doesn't have that same privilege of the Haunt, but he's right up there too.
Yeah, it just matches it. This Sporkface Killaz team, they are always just firing on all cylinders, always looking for the next move, happy to throw their spells, whether it's right in front of their face or across the other side of the map.
Dude, your support position for Invoker does 30k damage. That is more than both, like that's more than your Sven. That's more than your Earthshaker.
That's problematic, man.
That is problematic. That is not a good look. I mean, he was setting them up from start to finish there. Sporkface Killaz. What an excellent game to get them into the grand. I mean, they've got to be feeling good, right? After a series like that, you got to be feeling confident. In fact, you might even want a shorter break to the grand finals because between now and then, you might just start to cool off. I mean, Sporkface, they look heated up right now.
Yeah, absolutely. You want to ride that momentum into the finals. I mean, you take a couple hours on this break, maybe eat a dinner a little too big, kind of get a little sleepy. Yeah. There's no way you can play that fast-paced Dota with a full meal inside you like that.
But I mean, we don't know. Sporkface Killaz have already proved that they're able to take this tempo, able to have this dominance throughout the first 2 series that they played in this tournament, and now they'll be on their hardest challenger yet, Yodi Brody Nexus. And definitely a very tough contender to deal with here. And we'll be able to find out more about it from one of the Sporkface Killaz players. We're not sure who we're going to get yet, but we're getting that set up for you right now. Okay, we're waiting for Mr. Henry to be patched in. He can't hear us just yet. I'm just going to keep talking and hope that he can hear us eventually. Okay, he should be right here. I think he should be able to hear us right now. Henry, are you there?
Hello, Henry.
Yeah, I hear you now.
Beautiful.
Bienvenido.
Hello, Henry. And I mean, after that game and after that series, more than anything, you gotta be excited going to the grand finals.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, you don't even sound that impressed there. Was it that easy? I mean, you were even all chatting, tipping around. You were having a good time. Did that go all according to plan? Was it challenging at all for you guys?
I didn't have a plan. They just carried me, my team, you know.
All right.
Yeah, no plan.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
the
Can you hear
H,
me?
yeah, we can hear you just fine. Don't worry about it. The H in Henry stands for humble, I guess. I mean, you were landing sunstrikes on that Invoker. Could you tell me a bit about the thought process? Because we know that you're mid laner, you know, usually. You kind of had to pivot a bit just to come into this team and make it work. Were there any struggles so far that you faced trying to fit into this role?
Yeah, my leaning's really bad, and I'm just like a weight. But it's like you ever see Naruto, Rock Lee? I'm just like the weights on Fade's like legs, you know. And as soon as I start playing good, we just stomp.
Yeah. He was able to drop there and just completely clock out Gara. I mean, that's exactly what happened. And
Yeah.
maybe a bit more about that Invoker build up, because something very interesting that it seems like we've only seen you do so far. A lot of these position 4 Invokers still like to build up that Quas Wax, but you put a bit more of an emphasis on that Exalt. Is there any reason why? Is that some secret tech that you've been hiding? Tell us a bit about that build.
I think most people are really bad at Invoker, and they are support players who never played Invoker before, so they just pick it up in Tornado and EMP and think that's the hero. So that's the
Yeah,
first problem, and the second problem is I like to do more damage and kind of become a carry. And I think in this patch, you look at TI, like all the Dark Willows and every hero, Muerta, they become a carry, and I think Invoker can do that too. So, but I'm not the
Yeah,
first one to do it, and I'm not the best. There's a player
sure.
on VP that I like, such I watch him. He goes Exort level 1.
Okay, cool.
yeah.
Malibu, you got
Contributed
any
30K
questions?
damage. So Henry, taking a hero like Invoker from typical mid lane experience to the 4. Is there any kind of mindset change that you have to go through? I know you said that you struggle with your laning. Is there anything that you're working towards how to better implement it as that support role?
Yeah, today I changed. I definitely got more points in Quas and Wex, and I was trying to do more stuff on the map. But I think that's also drafting. Our team needed it because yesterday I was kind of griefing. So
Got you. We've seen the meta kind of evolve from Beefcake draft to Beefcake plus global. Do you think there's any kind of team comp that can combat that?
um, I don't really know. I think every hero has counters, and there's a lot of counter picks. Like for example, they got Bristle, and then we just picked Primal, and I think A after, if I remember correctly, or maybe A was before.
Yeah,
So like
Mm-hmm.
Bristle is completely broken first pick, but the problem is there's too many heroes you have to ban, so you're always gonna play against some counter picks. So it's just how do you deal with that, and how do you fight, I guess. So I feel like every hero has some counter picks. To be honest, there's nothing that's straight up ridiculous.
understood. You have any shout outs?
No, no. I mean, my team owns. So yeah, Fade is playing open qualifiers today. So for ESL or whatever. So I hope he wins those. And yeah, my team owns. Yeah, they're cool guys. So it's been fun playing in ADCL. And yeah, I'm
Last
thankful to PPD for the league and stuff like that.
Hell yeah. Shout out PPD. Last little
Shout
question
out.
here before we let you go celebrate and chill out before the grand finals. Yodi Brody Nexus, have you had the chance to watch any of their games? Any thoughts about going up against that team in the grand finals? Are we feeling confident? Any players that you're looking out for or ideas going into this match?
My team definitely has. I don't know who's on that team. Could you
Okay.
remind me? If
Okay.
is there anyone I
We're
know?
we're gonna have to we're gonna have
It's
to
fine. No, no. But my team definitely has the best player in the league in Fade. So
Okay.
it's not even really close. So I'm
Damn.
pretty confident that as long as our offlaner has a good game, then it's pretty free. Probably
Okay.
2-0.
Yeah.
I mean,
Against
Um,
it's Scourge McDuck, B God, Door, Jed.
yeah, that'll be
DNC.
easy 2-0 to be honest.
Damn.
Just
Okay.
being honest.
Okay.
I
It's an
mean,
easy
Woo.
1K in the bank, baby.
my cores are really good, so I just kind of sunstrike some creeps and get a Midas and stuff, and yeah, they'll just carry, so it'll be pretty free.
Okay. And it turns out, looks like Sporkface Killaz did a good time with the draft this time round. But yeah, Henry, thank you so much for gracing us with your time. We won't take any more of it. Hope to see you guys perform, and we'll hold you to your word. We're hoping for a 2-0 grand finals for the boys on Sporkface. Best of luck to you, and have a chill rest of your day. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you guys. Have a good day. See
Obrigado.
ya.
See ya.
Obrigado.
Yeah, and that was Henry, our midfielder, the excellent invoker. I think he was just being humble. You know, he talks a lot about his calls. Sure, they're great, but he definitely put on a performance along with Chola as well.
Absolutely. But a little humbleness serves everyone well. You spread the love for your team, build up that morale, and
Yeah.
head into the finals well rounded and happy to play with each other.
Yeah, I mean, it's two sides of the coin, right? He's like, oh, I don't do much, but also we're gonna 2-0.
30K damage.
We're gonna 2-0 them in the grand finals. No problem. Gotta love Henry. But yeah, so just a reminder as well. I think it's good that Henry shouted this out, but we're having a bit of a schedule change to accommodate some of the players playing in ESL KL open qualifiers here. They are, I mean, he already mentioned Fate's gonna be playing that, so that's why we're having a bit of a break. So grand finals, we know we're gonna leave you a little cold for a while. We're gonna go offline and come back at 9 p.m. EST for Yodi Brody Nexus versus Sporkface Killaz to determine who is the winner of Tournament 1 in Division 1. We're going to just take a quick look through how the events have panned out so far. Malibu, why don't you walk us through the bracket?
Absolutely. We see a lot of 2-0s every single quarterfinal match. 2-0. Some
Hmm.
of the second matches were hotly contested.
Yeah.
Grand Fry Boys had a close one there, but just straight through, almost like TI. You just saw those 2-0s across the board. A little bit more of a fight through our semifinals. Fry Boys putting up a fight against the Nexus team. The game 3 didn't really kind of wash out for him, obviously.
Hmm.
But then Sporkface just rolling over Astros here in the second semifinal. Interesting to see what'll happen in the finals. If it'll be just a repeat of the bracket to this point, or if we're gonna get a full 3-game series. What do you think, Sneeze?
Yeah, I mean, I'm certainly hoping for a 3-game series because, Yodi Brody, obviously run by the titular Yodi Brody himself. I think it's really cool to see these new organizations come in and have such success, right, into a new sort of system. You think about some of the old guys on not that they're that old, but we already mentioned it, right? Sporkface and Astronauts, they're not new to this entire environment. So they kind of already, even though things have changed, they have an idea about who are the good players, who they want and stuff. So it's really cool to see Yodi Brody able to come in and succeed. And
Hmm.
I'm hoping for good things for him. But with the way that Sporkface Killaz are playing, yeah, I think they kind of conducted a player draft masterclass there. Like Henry mentioned, Fade is looking like the best player of the entire league right now. We'll have to find out how that goes. I just wanted to go to a game 3 because I think more NA Dota for everyone is obviously the best. But we'll have to see who takes it. Do you have any predictions for who you think is going to take it, though?
I mean, I got to go with my boy Henry. We hung out a little
Nice.
bit in Seattle at TI, got
Nice.
to know him, and I'm just like,
Yeah, ate some
I got to
sushi.
root for
I
this guy
remember
now.
that. I remember that.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I think Sporkface gonna take it. Nexus maybe take a game off of him,
Mm-hmm.
just to account for
Maybe.
those variables. But I think it's gonna be a Sporkface dub for sure.
Just giving them a little bit of credit where credit is due here. But thank you, everybody, for watching. Like we mentioned, the grand finals will be at 9 p.m. EST. So stay tuned for that. You can go grab a nice meal, maybe play a couple of pubs yourself, get in that Dota mood to find out who is going to be your tournament one winner. But for myself as well as Malibu, it's going to be it for today. Thank you, everybody, for watching and supporting NADCL as always. If you're not already in Discord, what are you doing? Join the Discord. If you're not already in the entire league, join the league. It's fun. I mean, Malibu's playing in Division 2. You can crush him or
Oh
he
yeah,
can crush you. Who doesn't want that? Any
who
final
knows?
words for you, Malibu?
Yeah, join the Discord, join the
Mm-hmm.
league, buy a supporter pack, be part of the crew. We always need more members, more talent. We are always building up our team, so you can be part of this. Come join
Yeah,
us.
for sure. Definitely one of the more unique ecosystems. Actually, one of the only ecosystems coming out in the Dota
True.
community right now. It's definitely an exciting time. So be sure to join in if you haven't. But for now, we're going to say goodbye. That's all from Sneeze and Malibu. Thank you so much for watching. And we'll see you at 9 p.m. EST for the grand finals of Tournament 1 NADCL Season 5. We'll see you there.
Bye bye.